Welcome, everybody, to episode 11 of the American Craftsman Podcast. You'll notice we have an empty seat at the table today. Rich had his foot surgery on Monday, so he'll be sitting this week out. Got our buddy Manny here.
That's right.
Manny is a cabinet finisher, a custom fabricator.
Yeah, metal work.
No, use that word. Use that word. Custom.
Custom fabricator.
Custom. You got to be careful with that one.
Yeah, a real custom fabricator.
Yeah.
Could I say diesel tech?
No.
Well,
not at all.
You work on diesels?
No, I help out with that stuff, but that's like far and few between.
Well, okay.
Just hang out in a lot of shops and do a lot of weird things.
He is our go-to guy for all mechanical issues, though.
Most of the time.
Yeah, highly mechanically inclined.
Yeah.
I'm very humble about everything that he can do. I'll put that in there.
Try to be. You have to be.
You're one of those guys who downplays, you'll say, oh yeah, Manny's great at working on diesels, and here you are downplaying the
Well, no, diesels for 100%. Just until recently that started coming into play. Hanging out at all the shops that I hang out with, you come across a lot of people.
Yeah.
So just recently I met some people that one owns a performance diesel shop, and then the one shop that I'm always at, the one I got to go to after this is they just work on diesel trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the lift kits, the tires, stuff like that, and do odds and ends, but that's something new to me. It's mostly normal gas engine stuff and other things mechanical like that.
Yeah, you got your hand in a lot of pots.
Too many. What's that saying? Like the jack of all trades and master of none?
Yeah.
Well, but better than a master of one.
Exactly.
We should touch on how we all met,
Yeah.
Well,
Take it away.
Yeah. Just like Jeff and Rich and myself, we met Manny at the same shop.
It is. Yeah.
And it's, the Tom
character
shop. Yeah, it was his shop. And so we ran into Manny there, and we all instantly took a liking to him. We'll learn now what Manny thought of us when he first met us.
It's all the characters.
So that's a cabinet shop down in Long Branch. And we all did our time there. So tell us a little bit about how you got started, Manny, and how you found your way to the cabinet shop and what you did before that and what you're doing now.
Yeah. Woodworking, because you always ask that question, like, how'd you become a woodworker? Well, I work with wood, not necessarily a woodworker yet, but it started off as me just being a bike mechanic. My father was, a bicycle mechanic for pretty much the entire time when he came to America, so like 30 years or so.
Yeah, where'd he come from?
Portugal.
That's right.
Yeah. So, he had like a few odds and end jobs, and then kind of just took that as a job and stuck with it. And then he got into, we'll say, the cabinet business, but not really doing anything too much.
Yeah.
He just worked in the cabinet shop, being the helper, doing assembly, doing this, doing that. Never really picked up on too much stuff, never really picked up on woodworking. So woodworking was never really a thought in my mind, never really, even as a kid, never did anything like that.
Well, what was your first interest in sort of doing stuff with your hands?
When I didn't have money to pay other people to fix my problems and stuff like that, it was, don't have the money to do it. So got to get it done one way or another.
Right. So is that how you got into like mechanics and everything like that? Or?
Yeah. As much as my dad was into that stuff, he never really taught me much.
Mm-hmm.
He was very that straight shooter kind of guy. Like, just, you're going to do it this one way and that's it. And if you don't do it my way, it's the wrong way. So I try not.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So you fit in at the cabinet shop.
No. That's my biggest problem why I don't. So yeah, growing up with that was pretty rough. Never really got to experience much or do much. And then dealing with like high anxiety, as we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
Really limits your abilities. And then I don't know, it was probably about when I was 19, 20 got my first, you say, real job.
Yeah.
And it was just a retail job at an outdoor place.
That's right. Well, is E something?
Eastern Mountain Sports.
That's right.
So
That's right.
probably a lot of the listeners on here have been there before. But yeah, so started there as just like a normal retail person. And, you know, it was funny, was never camped in my life. So, so it was kind of a learning curve. You know, it was a job.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, now I'm actually like making money and doing something, not being a bum and, you know, whatever the case may be.
Let me interject, because this is, again, perfect example, right, Jeff? Where your humility is huge. It's way outstrips your talents. City boy, never camped, and then you're probably one of the brightest, quickest at all of Eastern Mountain Sports in short order.
Well, for me, it's either I'm going to amount to nothing or I'm going to do what I can to amount to something. So when you don't have a lot and when you want to accomplish a lot, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, and growing up in the situations that I've had to grow up in, it was like, I don't want to be this way.
Yes. But
I'm not this person. I don't want to be this person. I don't want to rely on other people. You know, when you need to, but
yeah,
you know, if you want to advance, you got to advance. So that was my...
You
got the drive.
Sink or swim.
But you got the aptitude.
Yeah. So that was my thing, you know? So it was like, yeah, never camped in my life. And here I am working at a camping store now, you know? So it was a lot to take in, because it wasn't, you know, Eastern Mountain Sports wasn't a like a low end retailer.
No, they used to make
nice.
top end stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like one of the other bigger competitors at the time, I think was like REI, you know, which is like, if you're an athlete or a mountaineer or pro cyclist, this and that, like it's a place you go to. You're not going to like Dick's Sporting Goods or Sports Authority at the time. Yeah. So the people coming in there really were a handful at first, you know, to take in, you know, kind of feel a certain type of way when someone's coming at you with questions about, oh, you know, like I'm going to go hike the Appalachian Trail and I need to shave a few grams off of my clothing and this and that. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this is all news to me.
Yeah. Those are the people that cut off the handles of their toothbrush, you know, to
save weight. Yeah. Don't even bring a toothbrush. You got the finger. So yeah, there was a lot to take in. So EMS had a bike department too. And my buddy was like the manager there. So that's kind of like how I got the job too. You know, they had an opening, you know, he always looked out for me. So he was like, you know, come try it out. The worst case is going to happen is you don't make it. So there was the bike tech there. Then he left, and then my other buddy came in, took over the bike tech position. That's what they call him there, the bike tech. So they took him in, and he was there for about a year or so, about the same amount of time as me. And then he left, and they were like, all right, you know, you're the only other one here that cycles and understands this stuff, and, you know, you got to take over. So that's kind of where that all started. And, you know, I was there for 4 years or so, was running the bike shop there for about 3 years.
Did you do a lot of hands-on work on the bikes?
Yeah. So it was like, you know, you get the new bikes in. So it was like obviously a retail environment. So setting up the floor for, you know, the helmets, clothing, tools, doing this, doing that. You know, the new bikes would come in, set them up, take people on test rides. Someone buys a bike, tune it up, put all the accessories on it. But then it was also a repair shop.
Yeah.
Which is where I was more inclined at, was like, you know, fixing crappy bikes.
That's how I know you, though. Really looking at a problem, being able to diagnose it, and come up with some kind of solution.
Yeah. So it was weird because it was like the shop there took a lot of like ups and downs. You know, the guy that was there before me was like almost a pro cyclist. And then, you know, he kind of just kept to one thing, didn't really want to reach out and didn't want to do the things that he needed to do. So when he left, my buddy came in, and then that turned kind of into like a shit show. So things started. Yeah. Yeah, you guys met my buddy. So that turned into a shit show. And then so then I came in, and it was like a lot of like pressure on me, because it was like, you know, it's like I said, it's like my first real job. I was a late bloomer with stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I was just doing like little side jobs, doing this, doing that, never being like, you know, a retail worker and having
a 9 to 5 kind of guy.
Yeah, never having like a real responsibility, especially with other people's stuff and people coming to look at you. So I had a lot of pressure on me to like do what I had to do to bring it up. And a lot of people were shocked because it's like for our store, which was like, I can't remember the numbers, but let's say there was 40 bike shops, you know, we're always like 40th for sales, for this, for that. And then pretty much up until my departure, it was like I was competing with like Soho and Annapolis, you know, bringing numbers up, doing this, doing that. People were reaching out to me from other shops. So like it felt good to be a nobody to becoming somebody. And then
well, let me cut you off there because without Rich here, we've kind of lost our way.
Yeah, I've been thinking that.
And we're gonna get back to you.
Yeah.
But
the more important subject right now.
we gotta introduce the beer of the week.
Yeah.
So we can, you know, because I could feel my throat getting a little scratchy.
I'm reaching for a Phantom beer over here. Yeah, and while Rob's grabbing the beer of the week, we got to mention it's still Movember. So you can see our facial hair is coming back. But please, if you can, donate. There goes my Ring doorbell. Let me put that on mute. Donate. It's Movember.com/m/Greene Street ST GREENEST. We're about $395 away from our goal.
Yeah,
I got to make my donation today.
It's for good cause, men's health issues.
Yeah, which we need.
Yeah, so we got a Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA, and true to form, I picked this out because of the cool label.
Yeah, it's a pretty
not twist up. Oh, we're cheating on Keith's bottle opener this week.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, what I heard about it, but I didn't get to see it.
Atlantis Rail. What is this from?
I think we got that at KPIS.
What's it with the IPAs and the fancy bottles?
I don't know. Here's this is a Keith 2-bit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he gave that to us.
Keith actually, I believe, had surgery today or yesterday on his shoulder. So Keith and Rich both
get well.
Wishing you well. Yeah.
Yes. Take care, Keith. Feel better.
All right. With the official toast.
Yes. Oh god,
it's nice and cold, isn't it?
I haven't had a beer in a while. So how do you test for beers? Is it like wine? Do you have to like spin the bottle?
Hey, if you want.
All right.
I probably should note that I'm not a drinker, so I have a few beers a few times a year, and that's about it.
Yeah, I have one a week.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm a social drinker. I don't really drink at home, but I'll have my beer here, and then occasionally I'll have. I love beer, but I just now at 31, it affects me completely differently than it did when I was,
I'm already drunk off that first two sips.
I mean, if I have two, I'm feeling it. So
all right. So we got our Voodoo Ranger in hand, and we're gonna get back to Manny. You left off where in just a short amount of time you'd picked up the whole bike trade and dispensing information to others, and again that plays into how I know you from our time together down at the shop, where you sort of came in as, I
was just hired help. That's it.
Like give Manny a broom, ask him to hold something up, and the next thing I turned around and you're running the whole finish department.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Yeah, it
happened fast,
too fast,
and you were doing it well.
Yeah, well, that's what I regret now, but. So, I left the bike shop. I had my son. So it was kind of like I was still working at the bike shop. My son was being born, and it was like, someone came up to me with an opportunity to, make more money and experience something new in life. So it was doing carpet, which if anyone listening has ever done carpet, you know where this story is going to go.
You did put the rug down in our confessionals.
Yeah. And I haven't got a call to restretch them, so I guess it's
no. Yeah, I don't know if they get much use.
Yeah.
Shout out to St. Anthony of Padua in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Enjoy your carpet, guys.
Waiting for the pandemic to end so we can do some more work with you guys.
You guys got to have me come in and do some carpet in here.
Yeah. We'll be working in bare feet.
Oh God. Yeah. So he was, I got the opportunity to do that. So it was like, last minute, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my maternity leave, not maternity leave, but whatever they call
Paternity
it.
leave?
Yeah, paternity leave, and pursued, experiencing the world of doing carpet, working in people's homes and stuff like that. So I did that for 4 years. Learned a lot, got hurt a lot, and
that's some tough work.
Yeah.
That job it's unbelievable. And the worst part about it is like you never knew what you were walking into because the guy I worked for was subcontracted by another company who had accounts for Lowe's.
Okay.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
So yeah, I was a subcontractor for Lowe's technically. And like in your one episode you guys talk about, they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
No.
They just want to make a sale.
They just sell it.
So, all we get in the morning half the time is like a piece of paper, like, pick up this padding, pick up this carpet. Sometimes it'd be at the shop. Sometimes we have to go pick it up from one of the stores, and we worked all over New Jersey. It was based right out of here in Keyport, the shop. And sometimes we'd be going to South Jersey. We'd be going North Jersey. We'd be going to Staten Island. Wherever the work was, we went to it.
Yeah.
But they would just sell anything. And
Rob and I were talking today about that feeling of uncertainty, with your day where I'm reconfiguring some tools and stuff for my truck. I'm still set up from working at Tom's shop where every morning I might not know where I'm heading.
Yeah.
I might get a call at 7:45 and says, he'll say, "Oh yeah, you're going over to this new job."
Yeah.
So there's always this feeling of uncertainty and unease because you don't know
And that was every
what to
day.
expect.
That was every single day because, it was rare that we were in a house for more than a day. And like, it was just me and my boss, and I was completely green. And this is the biggest I've ever been. So I think I started at like 120 pounds maybe. And 9 times out of 10, the carpet and the padding were double my weight. Yeah. So it was like, it was an eye opener. So the first job we did, it started at 8 in the morning, got home at 10 o'clock at night. Ooh. And I was like, am I going to make it through this? Or do I just throw in the towel now? And I was like, I had to look back at my growing up. I'm like, no, I'm not going to give up.
There you go.
So stuck with it. And for 4 years, got my ass kicked. Learned a lot about that. But in that time period too, it was like also learning other things. So, we would pick up jobs doing other things. Like we would do small, like little kitchen things here and there, because he wanted to branch out. He wanted to get out of carpet because it's like, it's such a hard business to be in. And it's so rough on the body.
Yeah.
Like all the guys I knew who were doing it for 20, 30 years, rough shape. Oh, yeah. And I was like, I don't want to be that.
You were looking into the future.
I don't want to be that.
The knees are a fragile area.
Actually, the knee, like working on my knees all day and doing the kicking and stuff was like the most pleasurable part, as weird as that sounds. Like my knees didn't bother me. It was the back.
Oh,
having to carry these
pumping those
giant rolls of padding upstairs or into these tight hallways or just the carpet rolls. Sometimes the way that, going back to like the salesman not knowing what they're selling, they would sell these giant shots of carpet where like it should have been cut up into different things and sectioned and seamed. But no, now we're walking up 2-3 flights of stairs with a 12 by 30 foot of thick plush carpet that weighs 500-600 pounds. And here's a pretty athletic guy. And then you have a 125 pound kid with no shoulder trying to shimmy this thing upstairs and everything else. So,
the homeowner's crying because it scraped the wall.
Oh, the back of carpet will, it's like a rasp.
Yeah. Think about like the side of your neck, your ears, your shoulder. It was just like war zone every day. It's funny too, you say that about like, so there was one time we were out in what was it, like Monroe or something, and you guys know how the house is out over there. Mm-hmm. So this is like probably my second month in at this point, and we get the carpet, we pick it up, and it's a huge roll, huge, and we're like, all right, we get to cut it up. We didn't even look at the paperwork. We just picked it up from the store, went to the house, we look at the tag, and I'll never forget it. Like 747 pounds was just a roll of carpet, and we're like, all right, cool, we get to cut it up at least. So we go inside to check the house out first. You know, it's like one of those McMansions.
Yeah.
So it's a long walk up to it. And then, of course, it was second floor, you know, a tight 90-degree staircase, really nice wood banister, this and that. So we go upstairs, we look at it, and, you know, my boss at the time was like, you know, talking to the customer like, oh, you know, we're going to put seams here and do this and do that. And she looked at us like, what the hell are you talking about? You're not putting seams. It's one piece. And we're like we looked at each other like, what? What? Someone came here to measure and had to have known that like what we're about to go through. And sure enough, we had to muscle this thing into the house. It took probably an hour just to get it from the van to the beginning staircase inside the house. Just, you know, a hot summer day. You know, I'm bear hugging the one side of it. You know, we had to the worst part about it was we had to unroll it to loosen up because you have to bend it.
Yeah.
So to bend it and then have to bear hug this thing, me and him. So about an hour just to get it to the staircase, and then kind of like caught our breath and then looked at the staircase like, fuck, like we're going to ruin the staircase right now. Like I'm going to die. And he was just like, you got to, like, he was so stern, and like, you know, where he grew up, you know, he wasn't from America originally. So, you know, he had to fend for himself.
Yeah.
You know, how to walk to school, how to do this, do that, you know. Like, I think he was like military trained over in Honduras too. So it was like, for me versus him, it's like, you know, he just looked at me, he's like, just suck it up, dude. Just suck it up.
No, we're just
like,
going to do
it. Yeah. And sure enough, like we get up the first like 5 steps, and you got to make that 90, and he's leading the way and I'm behind, and I got the weight on me, and sure enough, we started to make that turn, and it just fucking pinned me up against the wall. I'm grabbing onto the banister. You can hear it cracking and stuff because I've probably got 300 or 400 pounds on me that I'm trying to not have come down on and crush me. So yeah, there was a lot of good times.
Yeah.
A lot of pain involved.
Those are some lessons learned, right?
Yeah,
And
100%.
you bring it forward to every new job and new experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, as basic as it was, you did learn a lot. You know, a lot of custom staircase stuff, a lot of interacting with customers and traveling. So for me, it was nice because I was always stuck in a shop. So it was nice to be in the van every day and traveling to a new place and seeing something new.
Well, see, that's what it's all about, attitude. You know, some people could say, oh, I got this job and all I do is hump carpet around and roll it out.
Yeah.
But you go in with the right attitude, and it's, look at all these things you're learning, how to deal with people. I mean, this is something that we do every day.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, you spent a good amount of time, you know, I was the installer. I worked in the shop when there was no installs going on, but I was the cabinet installer at the shop. And you worked with me on a bunch of installs.
Yeah.
And I think definitely one of your strong suits is dealing with clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a certain kind of person to know how to deal with people.
Yeah. I'm, you know, for the most part, I'm a people person.
I'd say,
you know,
so.
as much as anyone else can be. But yeah, I mean, it's all about just learning them, you know, whether they like you or not. And obviously, my appearance will definitely raise a few red flags here and there. But I think that also helps out with meeting people and making conversations and kind of breaking the ice. But
yeah, we all know a little bit about having an offbeat appearance at times. Like, I'm sure. What'd you say when the first time you saw me come into the shop?
Oh yeah, so I this was before you started, and I heard about you, but I never met you yet. So, but to get before that, so so I was doing the carpet, and then I was like, you know what? It was like the on-off season, and you know, a lot of personal life stuff was going on, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So we have work today, we don't have work today, kind of thing. So, you know, my father had been with them for forever.
Oh,
forever.
Yeah. We know your dad too.
Yeah. So I mean, I knew the boss. I knew everybody. Well, I mean, I knew the one person, and then obviously my father for forever. So you know, I called him one day. I was like, hey, do you have just any kind of work for me? Like, I just need a couple of days here and there, whatever, clean up, you know, do the edge banding stuff, whatever. So he's like, yeah, just come in. Let's see what happens. So that's that first day there was literally just cleaning up, and then you know, Tom was like, you know, we got to get this vacuum thing set up for the dust collector. And I was like, all right, well, never had to do this before, never had to do anything kind of structural with, like the same framework or this or that. I never really did anything housework wise like that. So it's like, you're really throwing the ball at me at this one.
Is this when the current shop is being set up?
No. This is years into the shop being there.
Okay.
It was just a matter of like, a little rinky-dink vacuum working stuff, and it's like you've had this dust collector forever sitting there and not hooked up. It's
rinky-dink at times.
I'll drink
Who was
it.
there? Brandon? Was Brandon there?
No, who the hell was there when I came in? I don't even remember who was there. I just know, it was Tom, Lou, my dad. Rich was there.
Oh, okay.
So I met Rich first.
Yeah.
And then I can't really remember. I think that was it.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, he had people come and go.
Right. That's kind of the story there.
Yeah. So I went in for the first day, just did the cleanup stuff, and then started working on hooking up this dust collector. And, I was like, all right, well, I don't know when I'll be back. And then the next day, that night, the carpet guy calls me and was like, don't have any work. So I was like, all right, call the cabinet shop again. Hey, can I come back in? That's kind of how it happened. So I was kind of back and forth doing that. And then I kind of just stuck with it because I kind of got tired of killing myself every day. And it was like, again, like, here's a new opportunity,
Yeah. That's one of the things I remember most about meeting you and working with you is your real hunger and enthusiasm to learn new stuff.
Yeah, I like being challenged. Yeah. So when I was doing carpet too, so before Tom's, I was actually doing plumbing. I was doing, half a week of carpet and then doing half a week of plumbing. And that went on for a few months until I got tired of dealing with not getting paid on time and, doing an A effort and getting treated like a B person, So I was like,
yeah, it's very common, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially for, that kind of environment, like who was that? Wild Willie was talking about the guy he used to work for, just like a big rough and tough. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's kind of who I was working for, and he just had that big money mentality and just, for the most part, didn't really treat the workers the right way.
Yeah, they see everyone as replaceable.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, and I I had plenty of conversations with him. I was like, listen, guy, like, I'm coming to you to help you out, and I'm putting in an effort. I showed up with my own tools. I showed up with my own car. You don't need to pick me up. You don't need to do anything. Just tell me what to do, and I'm going to learn it and go from there. So it's like, for me having to go from 6-7 days a week of doing carpet to me wanting to kind of break it up and start to branch out. I was like, I'm giving you this many days to plumb with you guys, just pay me on time. So I got tired of that.
It's not too much to ask.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, especially when you're doing your job, you're not costing. I can understand if I was costing him money, but when you're making tons of money and you're showing us tons of money and
plumbers, they get paid well,
super well. What they're saying is always like, what everyone's got to shit, shower, and shave.
Yeah,
They're always going to have work no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of, are you going to do the work? So I enjoyed that a lot, though. I enjoyed the whole mechanical side of it. Finally really working with my hands and
I could see that.
Figuring out the layouts of stuff. And then we roughed our first house, and that was like an eye opener to me. Like, I got to get the fuck out of carpet and do something, because like this is something like I'm enjoying. And then so after I said, like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep coming to work and calling you every day. Hey, am I going to get paid? Am I going to get paid? That's when I reached out to the shop and was like, hey, like, you got anything for me?
Yeah.
So then it just trickled down to, I was doing half days of carpet. Well, full days of carpet, but for a couple days a week, and then working at the cabinet shop. And then it was like, I looked at my boss one day. I was like, I think our time has come for this right now.
Yeah.
I need to pursue something else. I need some stability. Mm-hmm. And, at the time too, being separated from, my son's mother, it was like I had to do what was also necessary to not put myself in a worse situation than I was already in. So it was close to home. It's right in between where we live. So that's kind of how that all started.
Yeah.
But, then that's how I heard about you. And I was told that once I meet you, I'm gonna end up liking you a lot, and we're gonna click really good because you're just this off the wall kind of guy. And then I remember it was like a winter day, and you know how cold that shop is.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you walk in with your overalls on, your bib on, and your crazy hair, and I'm like, this is the fucking guy I've been hearing about. He comes in looking like Einstein, and I was like, and then that laugh.
You've had a haircut now for
a long time.
I showed
know
up
if I
one
like it,
day
though.
and
Years. Yeah.
Rob cut his hair.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen you with facial hair too.
Yeah. I never had facial hair.
Yeah.
You know, the soul patch doesn't really count. I had that for about 30
You did have that. You did have
for
that.
about 30 years.
So that made that whole appearance of, I've been hearing so much about this guy Rob, and then here's this fucking guy Rob. Like, this is the guy. So,
Well, it's funny because when I started, Rob was
I was back here.
yeah, and I remember saying, yeah, I remember I met this because we met on that install.
Yeah.
When I was the finish carpenter for the builder or whatever.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, there was this guy with the crazy hair, the glasses.
the laugh. That was what got me, was a laugh. It's like this addictive laugh, like it just spreads. I always think about that.
Oh man.
But yeah, so that was a good time. Finally meeting you, and then
Yeah.
you came in and were saying like you were still working on your own thing at that point.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you had only stopped in a handful of times.
Yeah.
And,
we did bond though right away. I
yeah,
think.
because you were so fascinated by my ears. I remember that.
Yeah. I'm one of those guys, like, I'll just say stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the guy that'll say, so what's the deal with those ear hoops?
Yeah.
Tell me about them.
Yeah.
Only there is genuine interest. You
Yeah.
know, I'm like,
And I was warned about it, but I was like also like I was waiting for it, like
you said, oh, he's going to say something.
oh yeah. But it was always good things. So
For
I
the
was-
people who are just listening, Manny has what you would call stretched ears, I guess, or gauged ears.
Well, yeah, you gauge your ears,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna catch some shit for it. But yeah, whatever you want to call it. But yes, my ears are stretched.
They're 2 inches, the hoops now,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 2-inch ears, or 2-inch holes in my ears.
Yeah, there you go.
Whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, because I remember that. I would check it out, and like you'd come in, and you go, "Oh, you got new hoops in."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Because
what
I
are the
remember,
size of
because
these?
you weren't there. You were just stopping in before
Yeah.
you came back full time. So each time you saw me, my ears got
Yeah,
bigger and bigger.
yeah.
So you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm interested in all this stuff. Not to have it done to myself, just like what makes people tick.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I told you the story, but it was
Yeah.
like I was literally just hanging out in my room one day, and my friend comes over, and she's like heavily modified, tattoos and crazy
Yeah.
piercings and this and that. And I always had my lips pierced. Mm-hmm. She was like, let's gauge your ears finally. And I'm like, no, like I've never had my ears pierced. I didn't want it pierced. And she's like, just do it. Stop being about it. I was like, all right, fuck it, whatever. So she had a brand new needle in the car because she was dating a piercer at the time, and came back in the room and it was punching my ears because it's not a normal needle. So
Yeah.
it was a 10 gauge hollow needle. So punched the ears, and I was like, all right. And I didn't think it was going to go this far, and here we are.
For those who are actually viewing,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
once you hit a certain point, there's really
there's no going back.
No, I mean, even at that point, there was no going back.
Yeah.
Because it was an actual hole at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I had my ears stretched to, I think, 5/16 or 3/8, and I still have holes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the normal earring holes don't close up. I haven't worn earrings for 20 years. Had 4 holes. They're still there.
Yeah. What's funny, too, is like elderly women, how they always wear like those
Yeah,
really
yeah.
like,
Heavy earrings.
yeah, they have stretched ears, and they're like,
Yeah.
I'll catch shit for them all the time. I'm like, oh, why would you do that? I'm like, do you see your ears?
You just
Like,
have a regular earring in a stretched out hole.
yeah, you just pop one of these things in, and now you're me. But yeah, I never wanted to do it. Like, obviously, like being into the music I was in, and
Yeah.
like that kind of scene, like everyone was like, oh, at the time, like you gotta have stretched ears. I was like, I got my lips pierced, and that was like that was kind of it. Like I didn't think I was gonna go this far with it, and I keep telling myself I'm gonna stop, and then there's other days where it's like right now these are too small for my ears, so it's like
Yeah, I said when you came in, that one's almost popping out.
Yeah, well, like I said before, that's the damaged ear. So I'm trying not to push it too far.
Yeah.
But if something happens, something happens.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So here we are today.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
as you know, fate would have it, we all got together at that shop and became fast friends. Really,
Yeah. Because I started working with Rich originally.
yeah.
Not knowing anything about cabinetry or installs or this or that, and just being thrown to the wolves. Like, all right, you got to work with Rich.
Yeah.
So work with Rich, and learned some stuff from him. Because when I was there, he wasn't there for that much longer afterwards.
Yeah.
And then that's when you came in, and we kind of clicked immediately, being like kind of the same age and kind of wanting the same things for ourselves. We're real hungry for knowledge and
I see the similarity.
Yeah,
and for success. So
we're very similar in the fact that when we get to a point where we feel like we're not learning anything anymore, that we kind of want to jump ship and go somewhere where there's more opportunity to learn.
yeah, well, I mean, either jumping ship or just finding out what you're doing and what's another way to do it. How do we make it better? How do we make it faster?
Yeah.
How do we make it more efficient? If you see someone doing something wrong or whatever the case may be, it's like, why? There's too many of those people out there. And I know you, when you were doing your trim work, you probably saw a ton of that. And then obviously me being completely new to anything construction wise, we'll call it, was like, I don't want to be that guy. He's just getting yelled at all day and getting told what to do, and he's never going to succeed. He's just there. And I was like, and again, going back to my dad, I didn't want to be that. I needed to fend for myself, and
I think we bonded over that too.
Yeah, especially with your upbringing.
The two ways you could go. You either go the way of the role model parent, or you go the opposite way.
Yeah.
And so we bonded over going the opposite way.
Yeah, because you've had a hell of an upbringing. So, and I use that a lot. Thinking like, always thinking about throwing in the towel. I'm like, well, again, starting off with my carpet boss, and then talking to you. And then working with you, it's just like, like there's people that look out for you.
Yeah.
And there's stuff to be had and stuff to be made, and stick through it and work together. And,
it's right. I mean, I'm almost double your guys' age, and I've been there. I've been in your shoes, and even in your shoes too is not too different.
You've been in a lot of people's shoes.
Yeah. But
Waiting for the book to come out.
Through life, there's always that person that they're not your relative. They're not anything. They just happen to step into that point in your life and just nudge you onto the right track somehow.
Yeah.
And I think back, and then and when it's happening, you don't always know it's happening.
Yeah.
But, as the years pass, you go on, you think back and go, man, that dude probably saved me from making 5 more mistakes.
Yeah, it's the butterfly effect.
Yeah. And so I always try to be that guy that helped me.
I think what it was me becoming a parent, because, it wasn't a planned thing.
No.
And I was not in a position to have a child, not out of neglect or not out of like, I wasn't a partier. I wasn't this. I wasn't that. It was just like, I'm not in the place I want to be to raise a kid. I don't want to be. I don't want to.
Young.
Well, yeah, but it was more along the lines like, I don't want to bring a kid into the world under my circumstances of what I had to grow up with and what other people are growing up with. Like, my eyes were open.
Yeah.
So it wasn't out of like selfishness about like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to go do this weekend or this or that. No, it was like, I don't want to have to think about like, what's going to happen with him or, all these different things. So it's like,
you're a good parent. I'll tell you that. I mean, I
try
know
to be
that
the best, for the hands that are dealt right now and everything that's going on. Yeah. I mean, it's, if I don't know where the hell I would have been if it wasn't for him coming into the world and, a lot of, obviously a lot of fathers step away from the situation.
That's right.
And I was like, you know what? That's not going to happen. We're going to do the best. And I think that happening was probably the best thing for me because it was, I don't want him to grow up being like how I was. Just,
it's an all or nothing kind of thing. With having kids. I feel.
Jeff's got a 2-year-old, a little more than 2, Hunter.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
He's 2 now. Yeah.
yeah. He'll be 2.5 in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
We've been watching him grow up here. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. It's It's very heartwarming. I mean, and even I haven't seen Gage nearly as much, but just when he was around here like about a couple of months ago.
Yeah, when I brought him here.
I couldn't believe how advanced he'd been, from the other time.
I think a lot of that is also due to me not babying him ever.
Yeah.
Which I get a lot of shit for still to this day. Like, just raise your kid how you want to raise your kid.
Yeah.
Talk to him how you want to talk to him. Just because other parents tell you like, oh, you shouldn't talk to him that way or you should do this. No, just take off that edge right now.
Yes.
I don't butter anything up.
Yeah, we don't talk to Hunter like he's a baby.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we don't talk to him like he's an adult, but we talk to him like he's a human being. And, if he says, I want that, okay, get it.
Yeah.
I'm not here to hand you everything and give you everything when you're fully capable.
Yeah.
You're not doing your kid any favors by giving them things or by making it easier. You know what I'm saying?
They're both
100%.
very clever beyond their years.
Yeah, and I think again that comes down to me and you being kind of similar to that hungriness. It's like there's no need for that kind of stuff. I do talk to him like an adult though, and it's the funny.
Well, he's a little bit older than Hunter.
Yeah, well, he's 6 now. So, but it's also even when he was like still 2 and 3, like he started talking pretty early on and this and that.
Yeah.
Like
He's sharp.
he's too sharp, and I kind of hate it. Like we've thrown tons of money at this kid to say a curse word, and he won't curse for us.
He cracked me up when I don't know if it was when he was turning 5 or when he was turning 6. Rob, we knew his birthday was coming up, and Rob said, "Oh, when are you gonna be 5 or whatever?" And he goes, "On my birthday."
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a smart ass. He's too much of a smart ass. The stuff that he comes out with is it's like, who the hell are you hanging out with, dude?
Yeah.
'Cause it's like you're only 6. You like watch your mouth. But no, it's crazy. Like he's sharp in that fact, but like every parent wants to hear their kid curse once. Like it's got to happen.
Yeah, Hunter's got a dirty mouth.
I've had probably 5 or 6 people at one time all hand out like a $50 or $100 bill, and we're like, listen, you can buy any toy you want to. You can buy anything you want to right now. You have hundreds of dollars in front of you. Just say damn or say shit. Say something. He wouldn't do it. He's like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And he gives me crap all the time about cursing in front of him. But I think in the long run, it's going to be better for him. When he gets older, he's not going to have those soft edges on him.
Well, and it shows that he's not going to be just swayed by what other people want. Yeah.
He's not going to be a shithead, hopefully.
He's being offered this, he knows what money is.
Oh, yeah.
And he's saying, no, I don't want to do it. So, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Even given the age differences between us all, that's our shared experience. And you could see it in your upbringing is that the harder parts of our younger years have made us who we are today.
Yeah.
So if you can persevere, it does, come out in dividends. It's a benefit.
Yeah. It's a benefit for sure. But I mean, like I said, I do catch some shit from some people like, you shouldn't say that or you shouldn't be doing that. Or just like the other day, like I sent you the picture. I had him welding for the first time. He was fine. He's protected. I've got a fire extinguisher right there. I got a bucket of water. Like I'm making sure he's okay. But like I sent a picture to his mom and she's like, oh my God, please be careful. It's like, that's what I'm talking about. Like we are careful. Everything's fine. Like if he gets a little hurt, it's fine.
Exactly.
But at least he's experiencing it.
Right.
And for me, like that felt amazing just to see the welding gloves on him, see the welding mask on him, and just, easing the torch into the, to the piece of exhaust pipe just to touch it and then freak out. Like that's enough. Like I'm okay with that. Like you're learning it, you're experiencing it, and like, let's see if we can keep going with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Hunter and I were cooking this past weekend and, he burned his hand on the pot.
What was he cooking?
We were making soup, I think.
Okay.
And, obviously I don't want to see my son burn his hand.
Yeah.
But that was a lesson. Now he knows. And he knew the pot was hot because, we taught him that.
He knows how hot.
Right. Now he knows, okay, if I touch the pot, this is going to happen. So, as sad as it is that he burnt his hand, well, now he knows.
Yeah.
This is what it feels like when you touch a hot pot.
I'm sure you didn't look at him and go like, ha, you burned your hand.
No. But you can't dwell on these things like, oh man, I'm a bad parent for
it's
letting my kid burn his hand.
I try to I maybe it's a bad thing, but I try to put him in situations that I wish I would have been put in as a kid. Because growing up with severe crippling anxiety and like just everything, I'm like, I don't want him to grow up this way. I don't want him to grow up this way, you know?
Because those things will haunt you for a long time.
Oh, my God.
I mean, sometimes it feels like it never goes away.
Yeah. No, I remember, this is back when I was just like, I think I was like 14 or 15, and I was working in a bike shop, just like part-time help. And I was just, like you get the sticker sheet of all the price labels and the SKU numbers to put on stuff. And I remember I was like just peeling them off, and then one of them ripped. And I was like, holy shit. Like my body just
get fired.
That's it. My body shut down. I was sweating. I was like,
in the corner.
Oh my God. And I'm like,
position.
this shouldn't be this way. Like it shouldn't be this way at all. Like what is this condition?
Yeah.
Like it's just a price, price tag. Like who cares? But yeah, so like I don't want him to grow up that way. I want him to experience the stuff that, like, again, maybe it's selfish, but, it's also like, let him pick his own future.
Yeah. And you
let
need
him
the
see
right
it.
environment too. Like here is a great example in this shop. We make, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
A day doesn't go by where somebody doesn't make a mistake to some degree. They're usually
I've never
small.
made a mistake in my life.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure you haven't.
we'll razz that person for at least a few days.
Yeah.
But we also know when there is a point where it can go overboard and somebody feels bad about it. But
Yeah,
it's a good environment where it's it's kind of safe to go.
Gnats flying around.
Yeah,
We have a lot of gnats
Mike do
flying
to
around
you.
right now.
Is it the beer? Is that wine?
No.
but
it's weird.
yeah. So it's like you can recover from your mistakes,
Yeah.
and that's the lesson.
See, that was with my upbringing that I hated was like, oh, if you made a mistake, forget about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's what crippled me.
Of course, because mistakes are part of being.
Yeah.
You can't.
Now I thrive on making mistakes because you know what? I even if I do it right, I don't feel like I learned.
Yeah.
You only learn by your mistakes
In a way, you're
because
right.
you could do something right, but there's 10 ways you can do it wrong, and then there's 10 other ways you can do it right. So it's like, you know what? I enjoy making the mistakes now. Because
It's a learning opportunity every single time.
Yeah. And it's also, again, it's like a mental thing. It's nice to like still dealing with the anxiety, but like, you know what? Like you're learning how to cope with it. You're learning how to fight it, and it's not ruling you anymore.
That's right.
Because I know you had.
I
I think that was another reason why we clicked really well.
I had fill in the blank.
Yeah. But I think, so
That's what's great here too. We don't shy away from any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everything.
And that's reality. And that it ties into the whole Movember thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people that are dealing with anxiety and depression and things like that, and nobody wants to talk about it because it makes people uncomfortable.
Especially with men.
Yeah.
I hate talking about it, and as much as you've tried to help me, it's so hard for me to talk about it. It's so hard for me to want to deal with it, with dealing with it through somebody else. But it's a super important thing to get into.
Yeah, you have to, because I mean, especially in these times, I would struggle to find somebody that doesn't have some form of, anxiousness about what's going on in the world or in their own life, or deal with these things, and men in particular. And that's why Movember is such an important topic, is that men, we're in the trades, we're these big tough guys or little tough guys, we work with our hands, we get dirty. We don't talk about
The cockiness,
insecurities or thoughts of depression, suicide, all these things that plague so many men.
Yeah, which, in fact, I feel like it probably hits us a lot more than it does.
Yeah, because they teach us to stuff it down.
Yeah, we're told to like we got to have this facade on all the time. Like there's this shell up. If you break that shell down, then you're being this, you're being that. So I think it definitely hurts us a lot more.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like I guess it kind of comes down to mentality, but it's like for a lot of men, it's like, for me, I would never be able to work in an office.
No.
You know, like especially right now with this whole thing going on, it's like all these people that get to work from home. It's like, I don't have that option. Yeah. You know, I have to.
Well, I just spent a week at home. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had that 2 months away. Well, no, not 2 months. 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
From the other shop I was at, but yeah, it was kind of hard. But even then, I was like, I think I was home for 2 days, and then I was at my buddy shop helping out, or I used it to start doing other things again. So it's like it's hard for me to sit still and not like just keep going, especially in times like this. Like, yeah, there's so many people that are strapped to one thing. It's like now those people have nothing. You know?
Oh, yeah, we're constantly branching out. I was
just saying to Willie, got to diversify.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, tell Manny, everything that we're doing. We've been talking about it, but it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Of course, our core business is and will probably always be custom furniture, custom cabinetry. We design and build, but Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing the 3D printing stuff. We're making, the accessories for the glue bottles, that kind of stuff. Trying to sell some plans, maybe get into doing some, videos and maybe some articles for magazines, that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, we have some things lined up with that we'll talk about once they start happening. We just got involved with Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were telling me a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And social media is all part of that. And
yeah, I mean, even just you guys doing the broadcast. Or the podcast.
Yeah,
I pulled a Rich on.
Rich is gone.
I pulled a Rich on that one. Sorry, Rich. I'll leave that to you. But like even you guys doing this, like all the people like I see on Facebook complaining about, oh, I'm home, I have nothing to do, or this and that. They just have nothing. They're so one track minded. And I think that's probably why we clicked as much as we clicked. If something fails, what's the next step?
That's right.
You know, if we don't have something to do, what's the next thing to do?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's obvious that we have a lot in common. You'd be a perfect fit here for us, and that's really our goal. Number one is to grow to the point where we need another person here.
Yeah. Which is something like I said, I've been looking forward to that.
Yeah. So that's really, always a topic here at Greene Street. It's,
my mind is hungry.
Yeah, how do we get Manny here?
Yeah, and we never build the same thing twice, so it's always. I mean,
and I think that's what I love most about it. Because being at the shop now, it's like my primary job is finishing.
Yeah,
which is like it's great that I learned it, and there's a lot to be learned in it, but
can be a little monotonous.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, how many doors can you spray before it's just
you're
on autopilot?
Yeah, so I mean, to the people that don't know, I mean, obviously you guys know, but yeah, I mean, I quit there a year ago and pursued another growth, which was working at a CNC shop.
Yeah, that's something that neither Jeff nor I know anything really about. We know.
Well, I mean, now that you're doing your 3D printing and stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but you opened that door to me.
Yeah.
And I was very, very reluctant to go with it because I was like,
I went there first and said, "Here's the guy. This is the guy you want."
Yeah, and you knew how I was feeling mentally over at the shop, and you're like, just look at it, and I was like, I talked down about myself too much about it. I was like, there's no way, like. They're too smart for me. Like it's way out of my realm. This and that.
Yeah, it turns out I think it was the opposite. Yeah, too smart for them.
Well, I wouldn't want to say too smart for them, but I think, and this is going to go into the gripe of the week, but but it was the whole one track mindedness again. But so I mean, you told me just go.
Just be yourself and go.
I think you saying that and saying, what, like, you got to take the risks. Like, I've watched you guys take the risks.
Yeah.
Listening to your upbringing and everything that you've had to go through. Yeah. And then, obviously, your situation, us being similar age, I mean, just having, the kids and stuff like that. And it was just like, you know what? Do I stick and be miserable, or take a chance and fail. And I wanted to take the chance to fail.
Yeah.
And I didn't fail.
No, you succeeded, as I knew you would, really.
Yeah.
Without hesitation, I say that. I had the confidence in you.
Yeah, I just needed to talk myself into it because it was something like, I always had an interest in, granted it wasn't metal stuff, obviously like I come more of a mechanical, automotive kind of background and stuff like that, more metal fabrication and everything else. But it was like,
you haven't mentioned, like you built your own truck, you've worked on motorcycles.
Am I allowed to use that word custom?
Yeah, you can.
That's real custom.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a group of buddies that really opened up the door for me. Being in like the custom car scene, it was like when I first started at the outfitting store, it was like I bought my first truck and I was like, this is pretty cool. And like I've always been into cars and trucks and stuff like that, but like I never got to do that mechanical stuff. So keep in mind, like I was just working on bikes until I was like 20. And then I started automotive stuff at like 2021. So it was like a really late start for me, or pretty much for anybody to kind of get into that field. And a buddy of mine had a custom, I'll make it easy for everyone listening and viewing that, like, low riders, like you think of like the California West Coast.
Yeah.
So it was something like that, but trucks on like air ride suspension and stuff like that. So he showed me this group of people that were into that, and I was like, holy shit, like this is awesome. Like there's a lot to be learned here. And being a car enthusiast and everything else like that, I was like, I finally want to be part of that community because like I have a job, I can afford things now, I'm doing things for myself. And again, I was getting hungry. So I was like, all right. So yeah, so it was a couple of years like, working 10 to 14 hour days doing carpet. And then I would leave Keyport and drive all the way down to Brick Township to my buddy's shop where we would be working on, either his truck or my truck and doing this, doing that. And then it kind of turned into this really bad addiction of, leaving stuff stock and cutting stuff off of, cars and doing this and doing that.
Is that the guy with the big subwoofer truck?
No, that was just a customer.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just a customer. I would never do that. No, but I have a really big like fascination with suspension and stuff, like how things articulate and how you can do this and how you can do that. And there's a lot of, and can use the word custom because it's like, you think about it, you're cutting a vehicle apart.
Yeah. Most of that stuff is one of a kind.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like just bolt on stuff, but like the field that we're in, it's very like, if you screw up, you screw up. Like
there's a ton of geometry involved.
Yeah, you have to be committed to you're cutting your car apart. You're cutting the frame off.
Yeah.
You're changing the entire geometry of the suspension, and there's so many things involved with that. And I think that's what really got me into like wanting to be even hungrier than I was.
Yeah.
And I think when it was at the same time I was doing plumbing too, which was nice because it's like plumbing the air ride up on the truck, all the valves and the air lines and this and that. And it was like, I get to bring that to work. So it was like, I was kind of taking the two things and making it into one thing. So, but yeah, no, we do a lot of stuff. Like even tonight, I got to go do a bunch of shit. And, I try to keep that as a hobby. So like, you don't get bored of it.
That's cool.
But
well, that was a pretty good introduction, Manny. It's just touched the surface.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, from what I know.
I'm actually enjoying this beer too.
It's good. Yeah. So we're going to move on in the podcast. We're going to go to some questions.
Yeah.
Take some viewer questions. Manny, you're going to jump in with that.
Yeah,
sure.
we have a bunch of overflow questions from last week. So we might end up with some overflow into next week. So first one, this is from Jack. Jack is a repeat offender. Jack Thornton 98 on Instagram. What is your best workshop habit for efficiency?
Yeah, we throw it to the guest first. You have anything?
Yeah, being open minded, understanding what has to be done, and I think probably the most important thing is working with the people around you. Don't be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
What part of what you have to do is going to benefit everyone around you, and how do you work as a team to make that happen. I think it's hard to make that a one person call.
That's an outstanding, take on the question, because everybody's going to go, 99% of people are going to go to this mechanical solution. What do I do? And you went straight to the interpersonal part, which is really...
I mean, if you're working in a one-man shop, it's a totally different story. Like,
right.
If you're dragging your feet all day, well, maybe stop dragging your feet. That's a start. But if you're working with a shop full of people, it's just like an art trade. But if you're like, obviously, if like you're in a Campbell's soup place, it's like you each have your own position. But in something like what we do, it's like you have to work as a team. So it's like, see what one person's doing and how does it trickle down the line that you all make it happen.
Yeah. I don't think we can come up with a better answer than that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, no, definitely not better. I'd say touching on that, on the team sort of aspect, is definitely try and play to everyone's strengths, find out who does what the best. Yeah. And play to those, natural strengths. And then on a more individual level, or even a team level, take that time in the beginning to evaluate the situation and say, what is the most efficient way to do this, and invest the time up front, even if it takes you an hour to figure out how you're going to do it. If you save 2 hours, well, then you saved an hour. So it's always better to, it's always better to, rather than just jump in with no real plan, to actually give it some thought and think about a bunch of different ways and
that plan being spread out through all the people you're working with.
Yeah, and you might combine, if it's the three of us, three different ideas into one final idea.
Yeah.
So,
and that was one thing too with us, was that, especially for me, again, being completely new to the whole woodworking thing and being in that environment, and then like working with skilled people, like I was so intimidated when you guys came in, especially you. I was like, he's the same age as me, and he's like just worlds above me. I'm like, fuck, like this is gonna suck for me. I'm gonna feel like
you catch on very, very
quickly. But what it was like, you guys, for having the experience you have, having open ears. Oh yeah. And I think so many other people can benefit from that, and I benefited the most from that. Was like, you guys have the experience, I don't, or whatever the case may be for anybody. But it was just like, listening to you guys, and then listening to you say, well, what would you do? It was like, what? What do you mean? Why are you asking me? But I think, so I think working as a team, learning where the straggling is at, and where you can, kind of cut time off of things is like, there's plenty of things that make efficiency happen. But it really comes down to the person.
Yeah, and you can get jaded by your own experience, and think, because I've done it this way, that's how I do it, and that's the best way to do it.
I've seen that plenty of times with you over there too. But it's one of those things. But it's also at the same time, it's like, you want to do the right thing, which is the same thing with me, and the same thing with you, and I think a lot of other people in any kind of craft business or what we're in. It's like, you want to do the right thing. There's not too many people out there. I mean, granted, there is quite a few people out there, but that want to do the wrong thing. But we want to do the right thing. We're not just thinking about ourselves. We're thinking about the customer. Yeah.
Sure. I'll just add quickly, for me, it would probably be trying to stay neat. I always try and clean up as I'm going along, put my tools up and things like that.
That's a big thing.
Otherwise, I get totally distracted and can't really.
That's a super big thing, because then you're taking time away to clear off a workbench or find a tool that you put down and do this and that.
Sometimes it just clears my head for the next step too, as I'm, hanging clamps or something.
Yeah, and like we were talking before with the tools, when it's difficult to get to the tool, like let's say in your truck, you're going to find some half-assed way to get done what you're doing, because I don't want to dig out the whatever thing I need. So if the shop is a mess, you might run into the same situation where you're like, you're going to take the easy way out and do it this way, because
it always comes back to bottom.
Yeah.
So real quick, so when I never actually asked you this, but when you were doing your trim work, was it your own vehicle or was it a company vehicle? Like, did you have to sift through a van of tools and trim?
No, I mean, well, at first I had my truck, and then I got a company van, and there were company tools in the van, but it was set up, I mean, mostly with my tools, but set up.
But that was you driving that van.
Yeah, it was my van. I set it up the way I want. And
yeah, because, I mean, we've seen work vans that are like What the hell is going on?
I've smelled work vans. Dirty socks and
just be neat and organized. You know, and that comes back to the mental health thing. Like just having the neat and organized, and you know, if you are an installer, if you're doing anything where you have to work out of a van, being in a customer's house is like already stressful enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, I forgot something, or you know what? Like, shit, I didn't think I needed this. Let me go out to the van.
Yeah.
Then you open up the van and you don't have to see this bomb.
Yeah.
That has gone off in there.
Yeah, I would, every Friday try and, because let's say it's Wednesday, you go to I'm doing trim, so I go to a house, do the trim, and I know the next day I'm going to be somewhere else. Well, I might just throw everything in the van at the end of the day. You're better off taking the time, putting everything back where it belongs, because you're going to be way more efficient the next day.
Yeah, because then you don't drag that stress over to the next day. You're not thinking like, fuck, my van is like a shithole right now.
Yeah.
Like even with the finishing, like you guys seen how much finishing we have to do through that shop.
Yeah.
So it's like there's so many different chemicals to be out, so many different mixing cups, so many different, stirring, everything. And it's like, seeing
It
that
gets ugly fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Like, even if there has to be work done, I sometimes say that can wait. I need to clean up. I need to have it organized because you know what? Nothing is going to get done right.
Yeah.
And then when something goes wrong, it's just multiplied by 10 at that point because now you already got stuff on top of your mind and you're just adding to it.
Especially back there, a little contaminant here and there, something in the air.
Everything. Everything.
it's-
Oh, did I add the catalyst? Did I add this? Did I add that? Did I already do this? How long has it been? It's like, just put your mind at ease. So I think the neatness is probably like number one.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it
I
all
agree.
depends. But yeah, it's two great answers, I think.
Yeah.
All right. There you go, Jack.
What do we got next?
This is from Nathan at Tree of Life Woodworking on Instagram. He's asking us, what is something that each of you would love to do more of? Maybe a certain style of joinery, etc. Why don't you take it?
Let's see. I mean, I would say I would love to do more like hand cut joinery, that kind of stuff. Some really things that really would push my skill level. The difficulty in that is that it's hard enough to get clients that are willing to pay for the level of work that we do, the way we do it now. And with timelines and getting work in through the door, it doesn't leave a lot of time to be super creative and to take. I mean, we already take the extra steps.
Oh yeah, there's more hours.
Yeah, way
out of
more.
here.
So yeah, I mean, I'd like to do more slow work, sort of at the bench, hand cut dovetails, that kind of
Quiet
stuff.
work.
Yeah.
No, besides, I mean, you guys do the dovetails. So
Oh
like,
yeah, we do quite
yeah,
a bit of it.
What is like much more than that? Like, because again,
yeah, I mean,
I'm not like a woodworker, let's say. So
Yeah, like we do router cut dovetails. They're not like half blind, just like your standard kind of dovetail we do through. But like hand cut with a saw and a chisel and stuff like that.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, every job always has a couple of details that we're going to add that are hand cut and this and that, and it's our chance to express ourselves in that way. But I think what Jeff's talking about is if we built, a chest of drawers and the
All the
full
casework is
case.
dovetail, hand cut
Oh,
dovetails.
okay. You're talking like okay,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a special client to get,
And not everybody even wants that look.
right.
Yeah.
It's, I would say I have a one particular thing, and Jeff knows this.
Morris chair.
I always wanted to build a Morris chair, and I suppose I could on the off time I could build it, but then you're sort of chipping away at it. I want to immerse myself in building a Morris chair.
what is a Morris chair?
It's a specific chair design, and if you saw a picture of it, you'd recognize it.
Okay.
It's like got these big flat arms, almost like an Adirondack chair, and straight side. So it's like in the arts and crafts school.
Someone with
prairie
authority
school
is going to be
design.
sitting in this thing, or
Well, yeah, and then it's got an upholstered seat cushion and back. Usually,
Okay.
that goes separate, and it's got sort of this mechanical recline feature where the back will tilt back and you have pegs.
okay.
It's just kind of like a cool it epitomizes the arts and crafts.
Yeah, it's one of those
movement.
quintessential designs. I mean, William Morris was like, I mean, he's the godfather of the arts and crafts movement, and dating back to England, the English arts and crafts movement. It's up there with like a couple other things as like the thing to build for
in a different way, like the Eames chair for mid-centuries.
Yeah.
It's if you see a picture of it, you don't have to know anything about furniture to know, oh yeah, I've seen that. That's a cool chair.
Yeah, it's been emulated 100,000 times.
Now, have you ever made one?
No, I want to though. I want to, make, and I'd love to make like a suite for a living room or something.
Yeah, I want like a Morris couch.
Yeah, like the settee and the couch. And so it's just, that's what I want.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. What about you, Manny?
Well, so funny story. Like, I think it was probably the first or second month, like working at Tom's, working with Rich. We had a job to go install like this bathroom vanity and stuff like that for a jeweler, a well-known like retail jeweler. And one of the reasons why, Tom and them wanted to bring me in was like, having worked with metal and welding and stuff like that, they had taken on this job that had these 2 bathroom cabinet vanities that had metal framework. So they're like,
there you
make
go.
these. And I'm like, this is, again, out of my realm. Like, what I've done is like, I'm just getting started with this. And he's like, just fucking do it. So I would like to incorporate more metal work into cabinetry and furniture.
Yeah, we've been trying for
we've been
about
talking
18 months now.
Because I think it's a really good, complementary, wood with metal.
We agree.
Especially when it's done tastefully and not just for the sake of doing it. There's
which I had never seen that before either. So like seeing that and being completely new to the cabinetry world, and it was just like, that actually looks kind of nice. Like a nice little end frame, and then the partition legs and everything else. I was like, why don't we see more of this?
Yeah.
Why don't we see more of metal and woodwork together? You guys would know more than me.
Probably.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are set in their ways, and there's a small market for anything outside of the norm. So
same reason we see so many white shaker kitchens.
Yeah.
And epoxy tables now.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you do see the metal is like a river table with metal legs, and they're a trapezoid, and so it's kind of been like just rehashed a million times by.
It might become a trend. You never know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully the tasteful use is a trend.
Yeah. This is something that I'm sure you could answer, Jeff. How do you have your business structured? That's from David, DWS Remodeling on Instagram.
Yeah, and David is he's in that Frisco area. We were talking about Frisco.
Oh, yeah, because his follow-up, maybe we could wrap this up into the same question, where he asks, outside of Instagram, how are you guys marketing?
So, business structured, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I mean, it's a partnership. We're 3 equal partners, if that's you mean the ownership sort of structure. And we approach everything as 3 partners. I mean, we discuss all the ins and outs of the company, and try to come to a consensus for the most part. No one's really I mean, there's a lot of times there's like implied consent where it's just like, I know Rich and Rob are fine with, and then you just do something.
And we each have different roles that we fall into as well,
Yeah, like I'm not looking over your shoulder with design work, and I'm not looking over Rich doing the accounting. So
you're doing this wrong.
We've compartmentalized parts of the business, and there's other parts where it's a discussion most of the time.
Bag, who can do what.
And then marketing outside of Instagram, it's really non-existent. We just sent out like a brochure, I guess you would call it.
Trifold.
Yeah, trifold.
Old-fashioned trifold.
Brochure to all these churches. Yeah. Because we do liturgical
Is that just
work.
to the churches?
Yeah, only to churches, because they're kind of in a
still old school.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Their niche market. They got a secretary that's physically opening mail.
Yeah.
So about 100 churches sent out this little brochure, a nice little letter.
Yeah.
Hoping to reach some people that way because it's fun work. It's
Yeah, we do, for the size of our company, we do a lot of liturgical work. I mean, we've probably, as a group, we've got 60 or 70 pieces, under our belt.
Yeah, that church job was something.
Oh, yeah.
Stepping into that shop that night with the carpet tools, like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. If you follow us on Instagram, go back and you'll see these quartered white oak confessionals that we built for this church in Red Bank.
Yeah. Little buildings.
And I could say from seeing them in person, they were top notch.
Yeah.
I was very, very thrown off from what I was walking into. When you guys called me like, hey, do you want to do carpet in a confessional? I'm like, sure.
Not quite sure what this is going to entail.
Yeah.
Almost made you want to confess.
Yeah, sure. I hope someone has the time to listen.
Yeah, I mean, when we installed those, there were like the six fathers where they were gathered around, like they were giddy.
Did they like
cool.
the climate control?
Oh yeah, climate control,
reading lights. Upholstery, carpeting.
They were nice.
Yeah, it was a labor of love on our part too. I mean, we just enjoy working for folks that really appreciate what we're doing.
Yeah. I think that's what it comes down to is like, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
There's obviously a number attached to it, but it's like, I think in one of your, 3 or 4 episodes ago, it's like, sometimes like the paycheck isn't worth what just seeing that expression on someone's face is about. Like, I can't tell you, I mean, that's like my main thing. It's like, I do so much work for so many people, and 9 times out of 10, I don't ever see $1. I just see a smile.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? Like, that works for me because it's not just a smile. It's also like the knowledge. Like for me to never going to school for things or doing this or doing that, it's like, I take that and replace for a dollar
This is
sign.
your education.
Yeah, it's priceless. Knowing how to do something is priceless.
Yeah. Because whether or not like that person's going to tell 10 other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, the confessional job is one of those where really we took it above and beyond what the scope of work was.
There were no holds barred on that one. We found, we had things sent, just the lighting and everything that was laid out.
Yeah.
By this
you guys did
company.
go all out on that.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, we have a job that we, that Rob designed for St. Anthony's that hopefully... maybe a couple months.
Oh yeah. As soon as things clear up out there, we're hoping to get back into that.
Well, churches are open right now, are they not?
Yeah. I guess limited capacity, that kind of stuff, like everything else.
All right. So, we'll go to the next question from Brian. I'm gonna give this last name a shot. Brian Igielski on YouTube, and he's asking for shop storage. Do you prefer cabinets, drawers? For me, I can keep drawers more organized. I tend to lose things in the back of cabinets. How do you feel about that, man? If you have to organize your stuff, you're looking at cabinets, drawers, something different?
I guess it depends on what you're doing. Like, I know you guys are really about the aprons, which I was a huge fan of too. After seeing you with the apron, at first I thought it was like, I don't know if I could do that.
Everybody's like, look at this guy with the.
But then I was just like,
jerk.
Yeah. But then I was just like, you know what? Like, seeing after doing what you're doing, I'm like, it makes total sense. I guess it really comes down to what you're doing. When I was at the CNC shop, an apron would have been hands down the best thing for me. Yeah. I would have one little spot on a bench where I would keep tools that I would grab here and there. But as far as everything else, I had a cheaper apron. I didn't have one of the nice Calavera ones, but. Yeah, I know. I still look at them like, maybe I'm gonna have to get one day, but we gotta see. But I had an apron, so it's like I had the tools I needed day in, day out, all the time, right there on me, and then everything else was just kind of like on top of a bench or, not necessarily in a drawer, but somewhere easy enough to access. I really don't know how to answer that one because it's like it kind of comes down to what you're doing and who you are.
Mm-hmm. Well, for us here in the shop, what do you think, Jeff?
I because this question came in last week, I was thinking about it a little bit when I was at home looking at it. For me, it depends on sort of what it is. If it's something that's used a lot, I think a drawer is probably best. But if it's something that, we have a cabinet up in the corner of the shop over here that has iron-on edge banding and an iron in it. It comes out barely ever.
Yeah. Do you guys even do edge banding here? I never asked that question. Like,
we typically do like a real wood edge.
Yeah.
Like a piece of 3/4 on the edge.
Yeah, oh, okay.
So it doesn't come out very often.
Excuse me.
Yeah, we're a little snobby over here.
I love it.
So a drawer takes up way more space in a cabinet just because of its nature.
Yeah.
You have to have a physical drawer in there, the slides. You got to account for all these tolerances. So for stuff that doesn't get used a lot, I think a cabinet's better. And for stuff that you're using every day, screws, routers that are set up with specific bits, I think drawers are better.
Yeah. I much prefer the drawer. Usually if we have something that's behind a door, it's because we just didn't have the time to make the drawer.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about for us here. It's,
Yeah,
I guess that's what comes down to how your shop's laid out.
Yeah.
Whether or not you can open up a drawer all the way or if you can open up a door all the way. I guess that's kind of like another important thing.
Yeah, if it's like consumables where you have 5 boxes of the same screw.
Yeah.
All right, well, it can be stacked all the way to the back of the cabinet.
Yeah.
But if you have 5 different types of screws, you want them in a drawer so you can pull it out and grab what you need.
Yeah. We just have open bins. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
Usually those come out of a dumpster, those screws, I think.
You want to read the next question where it starts, I'm a hobbyist, 20 years?
Who's mostly used boiled linseed oil because Thomas Moser uses it, which is a brand of tung oil and citrus solvent. Do you use, I've typically sanded everything 600 grit, but thinking maybe too much sanding. 600 grit's pretty high. For interior fine furniture, what grit is your final sanding before tung oil? Alex Mitchell in Nashville. Well, you guys use oils much more than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 600 though, like, is that wood even open at that point? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I'm no finishing expert. I don't claim to be. I have, most of my experience is with tung oil in terms of like an oil finish. We sand to 220 or 320 or 240, whatever. 600 is nice, and it makes the wood feel very nice, but I'm not sure how much oil it's really going to accept at 600.
Yeah, I feel like that, not ever doing it. I feel like that's something like after you've maybe applied a few coats of oil, then you hit it with 600.
Yeah.
But hitting it with 600 and then trying to hit it with oil, I don't feel like oil is going to absorb into it. It's too closed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe BLO is something different. Maybe it works differently than tung oil, and 600 grit is fine. I'm not sure. I personally haven't used boiled linseed oil. But the finish we get with 320 with tung oil is I don't see a need to really go. To go that high.
Yeah, I don't know. I would, depending on what it was, like maybe like a butcher block or something, I would coat the hell out of it with the tung oil at most maybe a 220 and then finish it off with like a 600 to kind of seal it up and maybe not allow stuff to kind of get in there or absorb as much. When you're dealing with like wood and stuff, like I know when I painted that guitar for you guys, it was like watching the professionals, they'll sand afterwards.
Right. They're sanding the finish though. Not the paint.
But wood only can absorb so much.
Yeah. That was like an automotive finish. That's why.
Well, right? Yeah, the spray can, but even their finishes too. It's like even like the piano finishes. It's like you sand only up to like a 320, 440 at like a crazy level with a finish, and then like your top coat, it's like that's when you want to use the higher grits to kind of really get rid of like your orange peel or any kind of imperfections, this and that. But like, just dealing with a stain as much as we stain stuff over there, it's like even just today I was like, trying to match a sample, and it was just like, 220 was even too much. It just closed it up. The wood wasn't absorbing
most
anything.
stains, they tell you 120 actually.
Yeah, 120, but then after it's applied, then you go to your higher grits.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would say probably stick away from.
Yeah, and you tell them what we use over here.
Oh yeah, so you're from Nashville. We use Real Milk Paint Co., natural tung oil and citrus solvent. Yeah, they're in Tennessee. I forget the exact town. but a family-owned company started. A guy was trying to match these, he was reproducing antique furniture, restoring antique furniture, trying to match these time period paints. So he created this whole company to, match these.
And that's what he does?
Yeah, so we use their tung oil, their wax.
Yeah, so we use the regular and the dark.
Yep.
And the citrus solvent and the wax. Yeah, I mean,
it's all natural. You could pour it in the garden.
It's super easy to use, and it's a beautiful finish.
Lays out a lot smoother than, we were just talking about this today, the polymerized sort of. I mean, like Formby's, there's no tongue oil in Formby's. It's not. It's called tongue oil, but it's not tongue oil.
It's called
I don't
finish.
I don't have much experience with the oils. At the CNC place we used what the hell is that? That name? You have it right here. The
Minwax?
Not the Minwax. The other. Oh my god, I'm drawing a complete blank. The fancy stuff.
Rubio Monaco.
Yes.
Yeah.
We use that over there a lot, but again, it's not really an oil. The only time I've ever really used oil was like working on my own project, which was like that ashtray. I used like the Heritage oil.
That's like a gun stock oil, isn't it? Or
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. So tongue oil is it's what's called a drying oil. It's a penetrative finish, so it goes actually into the wood versus most finishes just sit on top. So
Which is what I'm used to doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's this stigma that these penetrative finishes aren't as durable as a hard top coat film finish.
Untrue.
Yeah, I see. To me, I feel the opposite, because when we worked at Tom's,
for those,
if this is a cabinet, you go like this. Okay, there's a little dent here now, and a lot of times, because the finish is so hard, it wants to chip and crack, and you can't touch that up with a. You can touch it up, but it never looks right to me.
Not as far as like just wiping on.
It doesn't
fresh.
match. No.
Yeah, that's what I learned when I made that ashtray. Like, it was walnut, and I used the Heritage oil originally. It was nice starting off, and obviously, like, I'm a cigar smoker, so it's like there's a lot of heat involved with cigars and a lot of ash involved. It lasted pretty long as far as like just using a natural oil, but I did have to switch over to like a nice like convernish varnish top coat on top of it, just to kind of withhold, because it's like you have to empty the ashtray a lot and wipe it out with some type of water or something.
Yeah, that's the thing about like a tongue oil finish, is there's still that porous nature of the wood is still exposed. So things can kind of get down into the grain and stuff, where with a hard finish like that, or a film finish,
it's sealing it.
Right, you'll be able to like wipe it up.
Yeah.
All right, that was a pretty good question.
Yeah.
So this is sort of related. We got Buffalo Custom Woodworking on Instagram asking, will wiping mineral spirits on wood before finishing mess with the finish? I've read some places that mineral spirits will not change anything, but here we go. Rubio Monaco, for example, says not to do so. What do you think?
Well, I mean, us personally, we don't wipe things with mineral spirits. I've definitely heard of people doing that. This goes back to the film finish versus the penetrative finish. I think, Rubio Monaco, it's a penetrative finish. It's a hard wax oil, I think they call it. So it's like some sort of combination of flax oil and a wax. So that mineral spirit is going to get down into the wood to some degree, and it's going to screw around with the finish soaking in. I'm sure if you wiped with mineral spirits and then let it sit for a while, it would all evaporate and you'd probably be fine.
Yeah.
But with a film finish, it's just sitting on top of the wood and it's having a chemical reaction. It's going to cure. So I think it depends on what you're doing. With Rubio, I would say definitely don't do it. With a tongue oil, don't do it.
Do you use the cleaner?
No, I mean, we don't use Rubio a lot. We use it for like stuff that needs a specific color.
Yeah, because they say like, oh, if you're going to use our stuff, make sure to use our cleaner first. And it's like, it's kind of like just denatured alcohol, but all right, we'll stick to it.
We'll use air and a tack cloth.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the oldest way of doing it.
Yeah.
That's an automotive thing, the tack cloth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we haven't had any bad results. So we try to use as few of ingredients, I'll call it, as
and
possible.
especially these sort of caustic chemicals.
Yeah.
You know, you're using Rubio because it's a natural product.
Right.
Minwax, you use a Minwax stain is like 1/10 of the price to get the same look, essentially, if you're going to put some type of top coat on it.
For me, like, I've recently just started like with stain jobs is just using like denatured alcohol to wipe it down in place of tack cloth.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have the option of ordering tack cloth. So it's like denatured alcohol in a rag, wipe it down real fast.
Not methyl ethyl ketone.
The butyl acetate, a big splash. But yeah, no, I just wipe it down with something. I mean, there's been times where I've used like acetone on stuff. I mean, like, that's great for like maybe cleaning something off with like adhesive. But I've never
put on wood.
Yeah, I've never used
bare wood, especially.
Yeah, no, I mean denatured alcohol like on a sealed surface, but I think like the Rubio monocoat, like I think their cleaner is almost the same thing as like denatured alcohol, which is you'll see it evaporate. You'll know it's going to evaporate as long as you buy like a quality one.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I've seen guys wipe stuff with mineral spirits to see if there's any glue. You know, you'll be able to see how the finish is going to actually look if you put on a film finish.
You know what I've used? Water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
check for glue.
Yeah, you guys have met the guy that comes in every now and then who's like the crazy finisher.
Oh,
you know,
From
his
Campbell.
favorite thing is just.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you're going to see. You know, what is this going to turn into once a wet coat's going to go on, this or that. As long as you give it, I guess, the time to evaporate and you know, like, it's not an oil, like, let's not wipe silicone or WD-40 down on it.
Right, yeah. Oil and water don't mix.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope that helps, Buffalo. So we got Joe, the ACFT Mech on IG.
I'm glad you got that one because I was trying to figure out how to say his
This
Instagram name.
beer is hitting me way too hard right now.
Joe, the ACFT Mech.
Yeah, I've
Let us know how you say that.
Yeah. So Joe, he's asking, what's a good affordable wood species for novice DIY furniture? And we'll probably answer that and remove the word novice even, right?
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't think it makes a difference.
No, go ahead. You know, Jeff.
I'm going to say for painted poplar and for any type of natural finish cherry.
And why is cherry so cheap now?
Because China doesn't want to buy cherry anymore.
Is
that why?
Yeah.
I mean, you could buy cherry for almost the same price as poplar.
Yeah.
Really?
It's
I mean, it's a little bit more. It's 50-60% more.
For us, it's very comparable.
Yeah, when you're buying rough lumber, the price is it's unbeatable.
It wasn't always that way, but right now, Joe, again, as Jeff stated, China was buying so much hardwood and still probably does buy so much hardwood, it affects the price of wood in the market here in the U.S. And cherry just happens to be passé there in China, so the price has fallen dramatically. So if you've always thought about working with cherry and wanting to make something, it's a gorgeous native hardwood.
Yeah, it's easy to work.
And it's typically, well, it has been so much more expensive in a normalized market. So go out and grab yourself a couple hundred board feet.
Yeah, wasn't that like always like kind of like a exotic wood? I mean,
Well,
not
like a
necessarily
high
exotic.
end.
Yeah, but like
premium
a high end
native. Sure.
Yeah, like people were like, oh, that's what I want was like cherry.
Quarter saw and white oak is a lot more expensive now.
I was going to say, now we see the riff saw white oak, which is eating up the quarter saw in the riff saw market.
Yeah.
The price is insane because all of these, again, a lot of the cabinet manufacturing is going on in China.
Yeah.
And in the 90s and the early 2000s, there was a lot more cherry being used because it was people liked it more. Yeah. Now people don't like it.
Okay.
So they're buying up all the oak now, and we're seeing oak prices that are triple, quadruple what cherry is.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and a little bit of an aside, I know we harp on this all the time to shop locally, shop your small craftsmen that are making things here. That's how your kitchen cabinets are made. That's where those factory built cabinets, that people that advertise custom cabinets, et cetera, those are boxes that are all coming from China. Mm-hmm. That's how much wood they buy over there, that it influences the market here.
That's crazy.
On just raw wood.
Well, and we've talked about this before amongst ourselves. Like, you buy a vanity at Home Depot, that was made in China by someone who is not being treated well. We know that. That's first of all. Then it gets put on a boat, and then it lands in California or somewhere on the West Coast, and it's shipped on a truck all the way to New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Then you go and you buy it for $200. Meanwhile, us here, we couldn't buy the material for $200.
Right.
There's no acclamation whatsoever on that. I guess, I mean, something though for that though is like, also like, depending on the finish he wants.
Yeah.
You know, like poplar, paint whatever the hell you want to. You can leave it in the sunlight and not have any problems, but cherry will change colors if left in, you know, if it's next to a window, like if it's an end table or a bookcase or something.
For some folks, that's part of the charm. For some, they might be surprised.
I love the way cherry looks after. I mean, the bed I built is the color now. It's
The
so
patina.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
only
it's
a year.
called.
It's only been a year.
Yeah, because you guys do everything natural. I do everything painted. So it's
Yeah.
like, if you want me to paint something, you know, that's cherry, whatever, nothing's going to happen to it. But if you want like a natural look, then obviously like you got to keep in mind that cherry's going to have its characteristics that are going to change over time.
Yeah, a lot of woods. Maple is going to darken a little bit depending on the finish. Sapele is going to turn from more red to more brown.
I mean, maple, give it 100 years or so.
It'll look like something completely different.
You won't recognize it.
Yeah, I don't know
Ipe
about
doesn't change at all though.
No.
Ipe is just that fucking colorful.
Not a big fan of Ipe.
It's not good on the hands.
It's not good for the lungs.
That's right. You're super allergic to it, aren't you?
Yeah, even the sapele and cedar, that kind of
A lot of those tropical woods.
the oily kind of woods, they really bother me.
Really? Mm-hmm. I remember we were doing that one job or whatever, and it was I think it was Ipe, was it not? And you were just like
Talking about Albarino? Because when we did that the pine shiplap, that kills me too, because that's sort of a pitchy kind of oily, not oily, but
and that was fresh pine.
Yeah, it was wet. It all shrunk.
Sopping.
We've got next.
Jack again.
Jack Thornton, top commenter. Jack is, I want to say he's from New Zealand. I don't want to misspeak, but he's from outside the U.S. Jack asks, "What are your tips for applying wax after oil as a finish on furniture?"
We do that all the time.
Yeah, that's our go-to finish is tongue oil and wax.
Yeah. My number one tip is go lightly.
Yeah,
What kind of wax?
Well, a hand rub, like it's usually
carnauba wax.
Bees, carnauba kind of thing. Go lightly, Jack.
Yeah, get ready to buff, because that's the whole key is to it's elbow grease. You got to really put it on light and just buff the hell out of it.
You know what I like are those white scrubby pads. I think they're like $1,000.
Like a Scotch Brite,
Yeah, get the white ones. They call it ultra fine.
Yeah, I'm like a terry cloth man.
Yeah.
I like
You don't have like the Festool buffer to like apply it.
No, I mean we use the Festool sander sometimes, but it never comes out.
It doesn't come out as good as by hand.
Really?
Yeah.
With the
like
Rotex, I bet with the Rotex it'll come out right.
We haven't tried. We have the
I guess for
Rotex
wax
now.
coats. But like I remember when I was finishing that guitar for you, I was like, my hand, this sucks. So I called my buddy up who's was a detailer at the time. I was like, you got to bring your buffer over here real fast and hit this for me. And then that was like a night and day finish. But I guess just wax coat's different. Like again, I don't really deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's all new to me too.
Yeah, I mean the tongue oil leaves a pretty flat finish.
It does.
So once you put the wax on, I mean, if you look at it in a raking light, you get a real nice, not a hard sheen, but a nice soft sheen.
Yeah,
It
something I've been seeing and something I'm actually doing right now is fixing. A friend of mine, they painted their cabinet with the chalk paint. It seems seems to be the new thing.
A lot
And it's
of
like
wax on top of that.
yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I got to put a wax on." I'm like, "I've never seen this before," and I'm like, she didn't do it properly, so I'm like, now I'm fixing it with like Conversion of Honors paint. I'm gonna put a flat top coat on it. We're not gonna put the wax on it and do this and do that because somebody kind of like ill-informed her about how to do it.
Yeah.
So
usually it doesn't need that much. I think that's the misconception that most beginners have, is that they use too much.
Yeah, just like, it's like if you put oil on bare wood, you see when it has
kind of like the
covering.
same, like you wax your saw table, right? Or do you not?
Yeah.
So similar to that, like you put it on kind of light, and then really make sure that it's buffed off of there.
Yeah, because it's only going to take so much. So you need to put just the least amount possible.
That's what we tell people, because they always want to know how to care for the furniture. And I always say, just imagine dusting with almost like a moist towel, just moistened with the wax. Okay. Not where you actually see little bits of it or anything like that.
Yeah.
See, I'm still learning right now.
Yeah.
I had to bring you in as a hired gun finisher.
Yeah.
All right, Jack. So let's see. We're moving on to Alec. I recognize Owlhead Woodco on Instagram, Alec. Now that you're selling plans, how do you guys feel about other makers potentially selling your design? Do you feel putting them out should be purely for educational, personal use, or does the buyer have carte blanche to do whatever they want? We can't control it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say legally they can do whatever they want, I guess, because we don't own a any sort of design patent or anything on the design, or we don't, it's not true it's our intellectual property, but there's no legal backing behind it.
No.
It would be.
Or is it not
Here's the
worth
thing
it?
with the glue caps. Everybody says to me, "Oh, you need to get a patent." Let's say Type Bond comes after us and says, "Well, we came up with this glue thing. We've been working on it since 2010."
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a lawyer. We don't have the money to pay a lawyer. So we lose the case, patent or not.
Yeah.
You have Rich, man. Rich will fight that to the death.
Rich, if you're listening, let us know how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got the pension to deal with, He can help out with that.
That's true. He's got the fat pension. So, yeah, I mean, should they sell it as their own design? Absolutely not. And is it messed up and totally wrong? Yeah. But, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it,
No,
unfortunately.
it's a moral and ethical issue. And we can't legislate or enforce, those sorts of things. It's all good faith. This is Manny. You've probably seen this. Manny and I are both into building subwoofers and all that, and there are tons of guys that put all this effort into designing a subwoofer box. And the standard with those plans that they give away on the internet is this is intended for personal use. Feel free to build for so, but please do not sell these commercially.
Yeah, I mean, for the little guys, but obviously for the guys who have the money to deal with the lawyers.
And really, what is it? They'll say, "Oh, this is a great chair. We're going to make this, but we're going to change this little element of it." And you got like the Vanilla Ice Queen, thing. No, I got this other pickup note in there.
Here's the thing. If you can build the chair as well as we can build it, then you don't need our plans anyway.
That's right.
So you're either selling it as a knockoff and something that's not as well done as what we would do.
Yeah.
Or
we didn't invent the Adirondack chair.
Yeah.
It's
you just put your own spin
version
on it.
of it.
Yeah, you put your own spin on it.
It's some plans to help somebody,
like me, like getting into woodworking.
Yeah, or even somebody who knows what they're doing. Just walk them through it so they don't have to figure it out by themselves.
Yeah, and I think most guys that are building stuff, and to build that, you need it's not super difficult, but you need a decent amount of skill to pull it off, correctly. You probably have enough knowledge to just design something yourself by that point.
Yeah, if you could commercially produce it.
Yeah, you don't need to rip us off. So.
But appreciate the shout out.
Yeah.
Alec.
Yeah, go to our website, check out. We have the plans for a Craftsman style Adirondack chair.
Yeah. Those probably are, in some respects, our most successful little project because people are interested in it for one of those weird reasons.
And with there's plans for the ottoman as well, like the footstool and the little side table.
Why don't you guys just start your own little wood shop class here?
We thought about that.
You should. Sign me up right now.
With COVID and everything, a little difficult now, but
surprisingly enough, so the one shop that I'm always hanging out at in Tinton Falls, I'm not gonna mention names, but there's a wood shop class and it's full force.
Yeah, were they? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they like rent shop time over there and stuff. Too.
Yeah. I mean, it's like obviously to standards, I think, 10 people or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm over there late at night. Like tonight, I'm going to go there and guaranteed he's going to have 10 people there.
Yeah.
And I'm there late. They're there from 8 to 10 o'clock sometimes later than that.
Actually, funny because I think it was Alec from Alhead was asking me about that place because he had a bunch of orders that he had to fulfill, and his it was either his planer or his joiner. He was waiting for like a new joiner head, and he was we were all tied up at the time, and he was asking about that place if it was any good. But I had been by it, but I had never been in there.
Yeah, I only met the guy one time. I really didn't meet him. I said, "Hello, hey, my name is Manny. My buddies have a shop next door to you in Tinton Falls," and that was it. But then like hanging out at the shop and seeing like what he has going through there, even my buddy and I have thought about just taking classes there because again, it's like for where I'm at, it's kind of hard to learn the basics because it's like you got the new projects.
Everything is so. Like it's already a job that's sold, so there's only so many tasks that need to be.
Yeah, and there's only so much time allowed for you to learn it and make those mistakes and figure out what needs to be done. But I have been heavily considering it. Like, it's hard to find a place to teach you woodworking.
Yeah,
and even working in a wood shop, it's crazy how much you don't learn depending on what it is. Like for me, I'm stuck doing finishing most of the time. Like, granted, I'm finally getting into like more assembly, more this, more that. But like, if you told me to cut up a kitchen, I'd be clueless. If you told me to do, a lot of other things, I'd be clueless. But
and that's the thing with us. Like, there's so many different aspects of woodworking, and because everything we do is so purpose built, like we're always running into new techniques and situations that we need to figure out how to do. So it's like we're always learning something new on every single job because it's all so different.
Yeah. I mean, when I was at the CNC place, it was nice because they kind of allotted that time to learn versus where I'm at again now, where it's very hard to get that time to learn versus where you're just good at this, go back to that.
Right.
And it's, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's like, I guess it makes sense.
You guys talking about the CNC machine?
No,
no, we were still on the plan selling, but I have to use the restroom.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask the same thing.
It's something about this beer, man.
Yeah.
This
is why I don't drink, is because the minute I start getting any kind of beer in me, it's just a never ending.
Right through.
Right to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It is a good beer, though.
Yeah, and we're enjoying this. So we'll keep things moving. In Jeff's absence, I'm going to take over the question from Blue Fig Artisan on Instagram. I like that name, Blue Fig. My question is about CNC machines. We're growing like crazy. Hey, kudos to you. That's awesome. To what I would say is a semi-production level. Okay, we're growing like crazy to what I would say is a semi-production level. Where, how, and when do you start? Should we outsource? We have the space for a 4x8 and have Fusion 360, but no idea how to use it. Also, interior corner glue squeeze out. How do you deal with it? That's all right. So it's a multi-layered question. They want to know about CNC machines and how to integrate it.
That's a full 180 question right there.
Yeah.
That's a full 180. You go from like the most technically advanced thing to, that's a good one.
Well, we could talk about like, when do you think you should start? Then there's the, trying to integrate Fusion 360. There's the mechanical
you good?
And using a CNC machine. And that's really your expertise, Manny.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, if you don't mind, do you want to take the glue part real fast so I can use the restroom and then we'll talk about the CNC?
Yeah. It's cold out there.
I'm going to dive real fast. We'll be right back.
It's we got an early winter here in New Jersey. It's like 30 degrees out right now.
Yeah. So, Jeff, how do we deal with the interior corner glue squeeze out? We just built all those little frames.
Yeah, I think that's, who is it, Blue Fig? Is that his name?
Blue Fig.
Blue Fig Artisan. We were talking last night. Nice guy. So what I do is I try and hit it right on assembly. So what I did with these window grill frames that I was gluing up is I just had a sort of like a bum chisel, and I would glue it up. First step is to try not to get that much squeeze out. So head it off at the pass.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Head it off at the pass.
And then, leave the squeeze out that's going to be sanded off, because you don't really have to worry about it. Yeah, the bugs are insane in here today. I'm not sure why. So like on the face of the joint, that's going to get sanded regardless. Even if the joint is perfectly flush, it's going to get sanded. So don't worry about that, and just focus on those little inside, on a fillet, whatever. And try and clean that off, right away.
Yeah. How do you feel about the letting it gel up method?
Yeah, I do that too, depending on, how many things I'm assembling, how much squeeze out there's going to be.
Yeah. Like
in the inside corner of a drawer or something like that, I think the gel up is a real good, or on like a tabletop glue up, or a panel glue up, letting it gel up helps.
I really prefer the letting it gel up method, but I tell you where I always fail is that I'll be going, I'm going to come back to that in like 10 or 15 minutes when it's gelled up.
Yeah.
You're on to the next assignment, and it's like, oh, hell. It's all, you miss that perfect timing where it'll just peel off like a little piece of tape.
Yeah, well, you hear me all the time. Siri, set a timer for 15 minutes.
That's right.
Then 15 minutes, I go back, I'll scrape it off.
But I did the same thing like that, the table for the trailer.
Yeah, see, for little moldings and stuff like we were just doing, that I really like to get off right away.
Yeah.
Because when you let it gel up, there is that chance that you're going to take some wood fiber up, or it's going to leave just like a little bit of glue residue. Yeah, so if it's not easily accessible to be sanded, I try and get it off as soon as possible. Some people use like a wet toothbrush, stuff like that. That's more of like I'd say like an interior trim technique.
Yeah.
But yeah, I say attack it as soon as possible.
All right, so let's get into the meat of this question.
Oh my God.
Cold, right? As soon as the sun goes down, it gets cold.
Yeah, we're in here in shorts, but it's cold outside.
Yeah, and you know what?
You get to wear shorts to work.
When we're working, the shop gets so hot. But then as soon as you sit down for lunch or you stop, it gets cold.
Chill,
Yeah.
Well, I sent you a picture today of...
it was at 52 degrees.
52 degrees. And then you sit down for lunch, and then it becomes 40 degrees.
That's good for the wood, right? Low...
It's good for the soul.
Yeah. Low temperature. And then you put it
builds
into a nice
character, I think.
A nice hot house.
So Blue Fig, they're so busy, and they've got the space for a 4x8, so they don't have it yet. And they're thinking about going to CNC. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that he's talking about like cutting cabinet sides and everything. Do you know anything?
They make custom hoods.
Oh,
so range hoods. Yeah.
Okay, so it'd be like just cutting out parts from the.
Yeah, they do like some curved stuff and all kinds of different and they do other stuff as well. But I think that's the main focus of the business.
That's what they're aiming at. Yeah. So. How and when do you start? So, that's...
When you feel confident, I guess.
Yeah, there's going to be some downtime. I mean, you're going to have that learning curve, and there's going to be a whole adjustment of how you process your parts, because, everything's got to be laid out, on a sheet, and, you're going to have to get used to how much waste there is and all those other things.
Yeah, and God forbid there's anything flip mill. So flip milling is when the part is two-sided. And you start off on one side of it, and then you have to flip it over and
register it
or mirror it to whatever it may be. So whether it's just you have to fully cut something out, but one side has holes on it for something or design on it for something, but the other side has something totally different. But you have to keep within that same thing. It's
Manny, why don't you talk a little bit about some of the intricacies of cutting and working with a CNC, like that maybe people don't envision. I think the inexperienced person thinks of it as this sort of magical thing where you put a piece of wood on it and parts come out.
It's not.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what are the misnomers? Because people think it's just like,
I thought it was
CNC,
too. I thought
it's easy. You just program it and let it go.
I had that same mentality when I started. I was like, oh shit, this is going to be exciting. It's a CNC. Like, granted, I wasn't doing the program side of it. So, I mean, there's the two halves to the CNC work is the programming and then the operating side of it. So I was on the operating side of it. And no, it's nothing like you thought it was. It's it's a handful. So to his question, it's like, he's what does he say? Like
he's busy and he's thinking,
but I have no idea how to use it. So it's like, does he not know how to use the CNC yet, or does he not know how to use Fusion 360?
Yeah, I think he's saying he has Fusion, but he doesn't know how to draw within Fusion.
Well, I would say that the first and foremost thing is learn 100% how to design in Fusion.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it's Fusion, but I think Fusion talks to the machine. So I guess it depends on the machine. So for the people that don't know, is like, just because you have Fusion or SketchUp doesn't just talk directly to a CNC machine. You need another machine or another operating source to then talk to that machine.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you learn the first step, which is designing it. So you guys are great with your design in SketchUp, and do you know Mosaic too? I know you know Mosaic.
We're
Mosaic
getting into
is
Fusion.
SketchUp.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Jeff's
you know the
our
design
Fusion
thing,
guy.
but then there's the whole other element of feeds and speeds
Right.
and tooling.
Yeah, and it's one thing to design a piece of furniture in Fusion, and another to design the tooling paths.
Yeah,
which you have to do that as well.
It's something totally different. So before you even think about getting the CNC, I mean, unless you have a lot of money, you get the CNC and start with something small, but you got to learn Fusion 360, and then you have to learn the feeds and speeds for stuff.
Yeah.
And then from that grow, because just my first day I had to operate that CNC machine, and it was the scariest fucking thing ever. Just hitting this button or setting the Z. So setting the Z is when, your tool comes down and you have to set it to the spoil board or the tabletop. The spoil board is what they call it, or set it to the piece. And if you're off by a thousandth of an inch, it could be catastrophic. So
Say that again?
Catastrophic.
No, the whole thing? If you're off by how much?
A thousandth of an inch.
Okay.
There's so much involved with a thousandth of an inch in a CNC. So basic cabinetry, what? Basic tolerances are what? 32nd to a 16th?
Yeah.
CNC machine is like thousandths to a couple thousandths of an inch.
Depends on the shop too. Yeah. I think at that one guy's shop it might be more than a 16th.
Yeah.
We'll let it half an inch fly here and there.
Let's take this hypothetical example. I know Fusion 360 backwards and forwards, and I'm getting my feet wet. I'm on feeds and speeds and all the bit changes and everything that has to happen. I think I'm about ready.
Now you got to go out to the machine.
Tell me what's going on. How is this going to improve my efficiency in the shop? And will it?
Yeah, well, so you know your feeds and speeds, but now you got to learn your tools.
Right.
You got to learn your end mills, your ball end mills. You got to learn your flutes and your cutout tools and everything else. So it's like now you learn Fusion. Now you learn your feeds and speeds. Now you have to learn your tools, because if you don't know anything about your tools, if you're going to make a cutout pass on something, it could completely destroy the part.
And now I've got that. So I toss my 4x8 sheet of Baltic birch onto the machine,
which is heavy as hell.
Yeah. And now what? And then I press. Do I just press start and magic happens?
No. I mean, I don't know. I can't say for all machines, but I worked on Shop Sabre or Shop Sabre machine. So
those were nice machines.
Yeah, it was super nice.
Yeah,
so
we $100,000 machines.
The 6x12 I think was probably around like the $90,000 range, which again, scary as shit. Your first day, and it's like you got to operate behind this thing. But so I primarily operated on a 6x12 because they did a lot of custom, one-off, oversized things that you guys know. But no, you don't just hit start. I guess to a degree, I mean, yeah, you got to find your files depending on so we had a programmer. So the programmer would set out all these different files depending on what the job was, which is also a very important thing to do, is making sure that you don't just bundle everything up into one program because God forbid something goes wrong. It goes wrong versus you have different files to do different things. So I would want to break it down into steps. I think how like most people would want to break it down into steps. Especially if you have to leave or to do something, because sometimes I've sat behind that CNC machine for 8+ hours at a time, just to do one program, and then there were still programs to follow it.
It's the same thing with the 3D printing, which is, it's additive versus subtractive, like CNC milling. But, I could set up a print of, let's say, 75 of the glue caps are 2 parts, 75 of the 1 part.
Yeah.
It may be a 16-hour print. One glue cap could go bad at 14 hours and it would destroy the entire thing.
Yeah, that's the troublesome part about like CNC work. It's like, so I know a lot of guys now will set up cameras, like multiple cameras. Like if your program is going to be running for hours on end, it may not be cost effective if you're in a shop to sit there and watch it. Especially if you're a one-man shop and you have multiple things going on. So setting up cameras to be able to constantly watch that footage while you're still multitasking would be first and foremost probably a very beneficial thing, unless you have the money to pay someone to stand there for 8 hours or however many hours it may be. But yeah, I mean, learning the fusion, learning the feeds and speeds, because ultimately you can design whatever you want to design, but if you go and program something to run at X amount and do X amount, nothing is going to come out.
Yeah.
Or something may come out and then you're going to spend more money fixing that or finishing that than it was for you to even have the CNC in the first place.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a lot better of an idea than in reality and practice. I mean, I think what some people wind up doing is taking the money, buying the machine, and then hiring people that are experts.
I guess.
But then they're holding you hostage.
That's what I was going to say.
Because you wind up being busy and you don't have the time. You go into it planning to learn from your expert that you're paying. The only thing is you still have your job to do. You never get to that learning stage. And when that person either needs a raise or wants to leave for a different job, you're left...
plus
helpless.
you mentally have to have like for instance, if you were the boss and you hire me to run your CNC machine, you have to put that trust into somebody.
Yeah.
Because and this happened to me a couple times. I've never personally crashed the machine, but yeah, I've ran the wrong program and there goes thousands of dollars worth of time and stuff gone, and you have to redo it. There's no starting over.
No matter what.
With a CNC machine, the difference between you working with your hands and the machine working is when you're about to do something wrong 9 out of 10 times.
Stop.
The CNC machine, especially if you're on the other end of it. So again, I didn't do the programming. I don't know what I'm doing for the most part to a certain degree, I would say. So,
you have to trust the program.
I've ran a full 3-4 hour long program and was like, fuck, that was the wrong program. And that's completely shot. But then it's also the same time. It's like if you don't know what's going on and you just hire somebody to input these settings and stand there and watch it, and if they don't know what they're watching out for, then what's the CNC doing? It's costing you money. It's not making you money.
Yeah.
So what do we tell Blue Fig? I mean, you've heard us talk about the ups and downs. I would say...
If you're doing simple stuff, maybe, but be prepared to spend a lot of money up front.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of money up front, obviously, for the machine and the programming time and everything else, but there's going to be mistakes to be made. And the bits and the tooling is not cheap.
So you might be better off trying to outsource if that's what you're looking at, if that's acceptable to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you have the space, you need to be in the position where you're potentially losing money because you can't keep up.
Yeah.
To justify that investment, because it's not just the CNC, it's the dust collection that you need. Because
which that's a super important part.
Your dust collection system that you have now isn't going to be able to pick up this, isn't going to be able to handle a CNC on top of it. It's the programming. I think it's a good idea to hire somebody that knows how to run the CNC and give that to them exclusively, because Let's say you're the owner of the company and you don't work at a bench. Do you know everything that the benchman is doing? Do you know everything that the finisher is doing? No, you hire someone and you trust them to do their job.
Yeah.
You have the business to worry about.
That's
so
right.
don't worry about the CNC.
Which is a full-time job.
Right. If you're going to run a CNC, you need to invest in a CNC, the proper dust collection, the proper tooling, the proper person to run the CNC.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's it's not a magic pill.
No. Yeah. And it's one of those investments that will either make it or break it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We know a few paperweights out there, big paperweights.
Yeah, and it sucks, but it's at the same time, it's like, again, if you're maybe doing simple stuff, like maybe like little tiny corbels without like a ton of intricacy to them, like, all right, maybe that's a different story.
And a ton of repetitive stuff.
If you're doing that kind of stuff, once you've learned it and worked out the bugs and made your few mistakes, sure, but starting off the question as not even knowing Fusion 360, learn it. Because I have Fusion 360 and I still am baffled at it.
Yeah. Or hand it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may not be worth your time investment.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you might have to pony up the cash up front to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. That sounds something more like a hobbyist type thing versus a business type thing. If you can hire somebody that has operated a CNC and understands programming to like almost the fullest, then it might be a better business opportunity. But if you're trying to do it by yourself, spend the money to outsource it.
They're going to be a well-paid employee.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
because programmers are a breed of their own.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you get a guy that can run a CNC, everybody be driving Mercedes.
Red ones.
That's an inside joke.
Yeah, I don't know that one, so
take our word for it.
Well,
I mean, we're not the CNC experts. I mean, Manny knows way more than us, but
yeah, he's run one.
Yeah, I think look at it logically as you would any other business decision in terms of investment, return on investment, and go from there.
Because I went into the environment where the boss already had the experience. Right. He already went through all the trials and everything else, and then he had the money to hire somebody who went to a CNC school, was trained by that, then which could then teach. So you already see how much money is being involved with just introducing the idea of a CNC.
It takes a while to make that money back.
Yeah, and you're working with an experienced team, and mistakes and
they're not cheap
things
mistakes.
still happen.
They're not cheap mistakes too.
Yeah. Going in as a novice on a 4x8, you may be setting yourself up for disaster.
Right. Yeah. Just so you know, Manny worked at a shop that was a CNC shop. That was what they did. All CNC work.
Yeah, 2 CNCs and a 6 or 7 axis robotic arm to do crazy sculpture work.
That was their bread and butter.
A lot of like art, real art heavy sort of projects.
Yeah, really one-off stuff where it would take hundreds and hundreds, or if not thousands and thousands of man hours, where it's maybe a couple of hours on a CNC and a little bit of elbow grease to finish things off. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like you think CNC, it's like one and done. No, there's a lot involved after the CNC. The CNC the CNC does one part of it, but depending on what you're doing, there's still the whole, you got to sand stuff afterwards. There's still mill marks to get out of things. There's still this, there's still that. So it's like, CNCs are a weird thing, man. You really have to know what you want and what you're gonna be doing if it's something that you want.
Yeah, your expectations may be out of line with reality, even in the best circumstances.
Yeah, and we spoke about efficiency before. These gnats are insane.
Yeah, it's something with this beer.
Yeah, they popped up like this week. We talked about efficiency before. You may see more of a payoff in just trimming the fat in your current operation and finding out more efficient ways to do what you're already doing.
Just making a jig. Like I know you guys love your jigs.
Yeah.
Maybe if you don't have a jig available, or there's not a jig available, if the opportunity is there to make one and refine that to the fullest and just be proficient with that.
Maybe another table. So I have no idea what the
I was going to say, let's say you're building curved hoods. You buy a dedicated shaper with a one of the big multi-cutter flush trim bits and get some nice router. Make some nice router templates with toggle clamps and handles, and you may see tenfold the dividend than you will on a CNC because you're looking at a $150,000 investment with a CNC if you're going to buy a real deal
Up
CNC
front.
dust collection.
That's just to have that that product in front of you.
And
That's
maybe a
nothing.
year by the time it's 100%, unless you brought in people from outside.
Yeah, that's not that's not hiring a programmer or anybody. That's just
Yeah.
to get the machinery.
And the maintenance involved on them. There's a
Yeah.
lot of maintenance involved.
Yeah.
There's a lot of upkeep involved. And if you're the kind of person that's like, I'll get to it next week or I'll get to it tomorrow, it's just going to be money. You know,
And if you're going to make the investment, you got to look at multi-spindle or
Yeah.
tool or what do they call the tool change, like automatic tool change?
yeah. So that's what I operated was, it's programmed where there's all these, we had 10 different options. So the spindle would go back and depending on the program, it would pick up the tool that it would need versus the 4x8 we had where we had to manually change that. So like that's another huge thing too is the auto change feature, which is I think it's like a 10 to 20 and more, difference in cost.
Yeah.
It's like the 4x8.
1,000.
Yeah. So again, the 4x8 we used for really quick stuff. Like we just need to cut out squares in something and maybe put a little hole in something. But when it came to jobs, it was
Table
like
saw.
yeah, table saw and a jigsaw, skill saw.
Drill.
But it came down to the 6x12 machine, and that thing was, it was a monster. But again, it's a lot of money invested into it, and there's a lot of care involved. I mean, having all those tools loaded, making sure that if the program is ready for tool 2 that you don't accidentally grab tool 3. Another thing too is and this was another big problem. I personally never had this happen to me, but tools that are too long for the tool table. So you have to manually change those. And if you forget that in your program and
Run into.
there's a lot involved. CNCs is if you have the money, sure.
Think it over, Blue Fig.
Yeah.
Think it
Yeah.
over.
All right.
They are fun though, Bluefin. So if you can operate one, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, you got a fat pension like Rich's
Rich?
wife.
Yeah.
Go for it. Play
That
around.
or just find a shop near you that's hiring, try it out, and then go from there.
They might have something. They might have a CNC machine in there already with like a bunch of stuff piled on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We could
all right.
probably find you one for
You
cheap.
gotta find someone though that likes standing there.
It runs
and
on
doing that.
DOS, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Use DOS, don't they?
it's
In
linked. It's,
Slovenia.
yeah.
it's linked to an old AOL 2.0 account.
Yeah, it takes dial up. Yeah, I'd say I know we're going on and on with this question, but maybe get yourself like a small X-Carve or like a hobbyist kind of CNC, a 2x2 or something like that, and mess around and see if it's worth the while, because those you can sell for a relatively good price.
Yeah.
You're
to
talking
fix
about
them, too.
$1,000, $1,500 investment.
Yeah.
Play around, learn Fusion, and weigh your options if you're going to sink 100, 200K into a tool.
And you go through bits a lot, so it's a lot of money, and you
Yeah.
have to bill for it. If you're the kind of person that bills for bare minimum, and you're spending that amount in just material and everything else, you're gonna go under faster than you thought.
Yeah, that's why you see a CNC shop has a $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 minimum. Even if you're cutting out, you want an 8x11 square, $1,500 because you got to pay for the tooling, the maintenance, the programmer, the operator.
Yeah, and if you could do everything all in one, then that's a totally different story. But it's a big investment, and definitely learn your programming before you even think about any kind of machine.
Last thing, Blue Fig, come in off the ledge.
Yes. Man, are we discouraging?
No, listen. I mean, it was fun. It's great, and it can definitely speed things up. But if it's something you're getting new to, there's no proficiency in it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's not an easy, quick fix.
No, it's not.
It's an investment in huge amounts of time and money, patience.
And if he's a shop owner, which it sounds like he is, it's like once you've learned it and got a grasp of it, being able to put your trust into somebody else, because you're the owner, you can't be sitting there behind that thing.
Yeah.
So you got to find someone that's going to want to sit there and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry
Last
to drag that
question.
one on.
This one's definitely in Jeff's wheelhouse. I'll ask it then. It's from Dave. Piece of wood. Piece being PEACE.
Oh, yeah.
How nice. On Instagram. In your experience, how much strength do mechanical fasteners add to small miters? We just did many of those. When I'm doing exterior trim, I've always shot 15 or 18 gauge nails to hold my miters. just curious what your thoughts are on glue joint versus glue with a screw, or in Dave's case, a brad. What's the difference in the strength of those joints?
Yeah. So Dave sent this over this morning. I put a little story up. I was putting a 6x1 inch stainless screw in the, back up the miters in these frames that we built. To me, a miter is a very weak joint, without some sort of mechanical fastener. The glue surface, unless you're doing like a double gluing where you seal the end grain, and it's going to be the weakest glue joint that you can possibly have. So anytime that you can add a mechanical fastener, you're going to be better off. In my opinion, a screw, not even in my opinion, in physics opinion, a screw is a better choice.
You mean Einstein?
Yeah.
Einstein.
You have the ramp effect. So yeah, I like to use a screw if I can. My qualm with the brad nail is that, Sapeli's pretty straight grained. It's pretty predictable, but with, some other woods, you may not know where that nail is going to end up. We've all shot the nail and then
into our fingers.
Yeah,
it hasn't happened to me yet. Thank God.
About 2 years ago, I forget which thumb, piece of white oak, a 2-inch right in the bottom, out the top.
I was there.
Yeah,
I always wondered how you guys did that, because I make sure my hand's out of the way. Like,
it's the nail hits something.
No, I know it
inside
comes out because I'm still assembling cabinets and I see the nail come out. But I'm like, why is your hand there? I guess it depends on what
sometimes
you're
you
doing.
just, especially with a miter, you're trying to hold it in that perfect spot.
Yeah.
And hold it tight enough where the force of the nail doesn't open it up.
What about a scarf joint? That's where it's like really overlapped.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, scarf joint is like basically like joining two pieces to make a longer piece of the same.
It's just a long ass miter, is it not? In a sense?
No.
Sideways.
I mean,
it's like they use it on the side of a boat. A plank of a boat.
Okay.
So you have this board running along the side of the boat, and then they would bring another board in. Mm-hmm. So instead of it being a butt joint between those two boards.
Yeah, because there's a lot more tension there for it to grab and stuff.
Yeah, like
surface area.
If you were doing crown molding or baseboard on a wall that was longer than 16 feet, you'd have to scarf joint two pieces together. Mm-hmm. So like me, I would cut it at a 22.5 degree. So not quite as long as like a 45 degree miter, but it gives you more glue surface. And but yeah, anytime you can add a mechanical fastener, it's definitely going to help. These are very small moldings and they have to be moved around a lot. So
because they're grills, they're essentially removable separate pieces.
Yeah, and I'm not so worried about once they get up on the windows. I'm worried about between now and delivery. So I don't want to paint these things and then all of a sudden the miter wants to open up because the glue joint wasn't 100% perfect.
Oh, right. God.
So it's
PTSD.
Just like, it's just a little bit of insurance to ensure that they're going to, make it to the house, in the best, in perfect shape.
And there's a great spot for it to be hidden. So why not?
Yeah.
It's not like we have to patch over that or fill it or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially in exterior stuff, like you're talking about, there's more movement outside, so a mechanical fastener is going to do a better job
on that window. It's gonna feel the cold air on the one side.
Yep.
And everything. All right.
Yeah, and I like screws, so
yeah,
that's my opinion.
All right,
Phillips.
This last question, I thought it was the last question. I don't know. It's if this is real or not. Brian from Slateware on Instagram wants to know how many foot jokes we can think of. I guess that's a reference to our
fallen comrade.
Our fallen comrade. That's a good way to put it. Rich had his arch repaired and some work on one of his tendons too.
Yeah, I think they reattached a tendon.
Yeah.
That or he's trying to mock people with foot fetishes.
Yeah. We had to look a few up on the internet, but they were all so long we couldn't remember it.
It was painful.
Yeah, there was one good one that stuck out, but I forget exactly how it went.
Was it the stubby one? Which one was it?
Oh yeah,
something about a phone call or something.
Yeah, you could.
No, the sandwich. What was the sandwich one?
Oh yeah. What do you call when you put two pieces of bread around your foot?
I can't.
a below knee sandwich. And
That's a dad joke if I've ever
That's
heard
a
one.
toilet joke. That's you're drunk on the toilet at home. Just trying to think of something funny to say.
Thank you for that visual.
Yeah.
So I guess the answer to that question is one, barely.
Well, if any of you guys have a good foot joke out there, shoot Rich a message. I'm sure he could use the company. He's stuck at home
on
with his
Instagram.
wife.
This sounds like it's going to go over PG-13.
Oh yeah, Rich got
He's an adult.
he's got an adult sense of humor, I'd say, like us.
Yeah.
So yeah, reach out to Rich, send him a message.
All right. That brings us to the beer of the week.
Yeah.
What are our thoughts?
Voodoo Ranger by New Belgium. This is it was a pretty popular like craft brewery when all these, when craft beer sort of got big, and they I read down here Asheville, North Carolina. So they were originally in Fort Collins, Colorado, and they have another one in Asheville. So I'm wondering which version we got. Probably
Alcohol
Asheville.
content.
Yeah.
Oh, 9%.
Is it really?
Jesus.
Wow.
I was wondering why. I was like, I mean, granted, I know like one beer for me usually, like
so
one
that's like-
Corona is like, I'm good.
Yeah, so that's like drinking like two Bud Lights.
I was going to show up with some High Life or something,
Shout out to MC Carpentry Mike, who was drinking what was it Colt 45? But the more alcoholic version.
I think that was my first
English?
drink ever.
No, well, it's like there's like Hurricane High Gravity, so whatever like the Colt 45 version of that is. I'm not sure if Mike listens, but he's a trip.
What was your first beer?
Oh. Like as a kid, your parents give you like a sip of beer, and
Not mine, but anyways, yes.
I feel like a lot of people had that rite of passage, like with their dad. In high school, like it was Keystone Light was what everybody, had somebody buy them.
What about you? You probably had something crazy. Was it just moonshine right off the bat, or?
Of course, there was no craft beer back then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This whole IPA thing is crazy now.
Yeah, I didn't drink as a high schooler much, but I do remember, those few occasions that I can't remember kind of things, where I was an all or nothing kind of guy.
I only have one of those, thankfully. Thankfully.
Wait.
I've had more than I can.
Yeah, well, you were
Care
a
to speak
bartender.
Yeah.
Let's get back to
I went to West Virginia University. What was your first beer?
My first beer, I think, was a 40, original 40
Oh,
OE.
God.
Old English.
And I was 17. I never had beer before 17. Like, I never wanted to try it. And I was hanging out with some sketchy people. And, he was like, listen, man, you need to try this. And he gifted me a 40 of OE. And I was like, all right, cool. And that was my first one. So
Yeah, and that's not even beer. That's malt liquor. That's like stronger than regular beer.
yeah, I don't know what that is. But at least it never turned into anything super, super bad.
That's true.
So, Manny, what'd you think of the Voodoo Ranger?
It was actually good. I think I've tried like a sip of an IPA at one point. I don't know what the hell it was. There's so many of them, but for someone who doesn't drink, I could drink it.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about asking for another one, but then I'd realize it was
they're right there.
9%, and I'm got a long night ahead of
We'll
me.
send you home with one. You can put it
I'll
in the
take one
fridge.
for home. Yeah, go good
Yeah.
with a cigar tonight. That'd be the way to go.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, I picked this up because the label just spoke to me. It's got that cool skull head in the like Air Force bomber hat with the
he's
glasses
got
or goggles.
Gold tooth. He has a patch of a hamburger on his shoulder.
Yeah, I didn't know that the name of the company was New Belgium. I just saw Voodoo. I saw the word Belgium. I'd been to Belgium and really enjoyed my time there. And I know we had a few IPAs, so I said, hey, why look around?
Yeah, just pick it
Pulled
up.
the 6-pack right out, and I liked it. It didn't taste at all like the other IPAs that we had, did it?
No, it's like I'd say more on the not sweet, but more on the sweet side. As we've had a lot of like those West Coast kind of IPAs that are real citrusy and dry.
I don't know. I don't know the lingo, but to me it was like a fresh soda, almost like carbonated tasting.
Yeah, it was very carbonated, and it was very cold. I don't know if because the fridge is on the outside wall.
I was shivering when I was drinking. I was like, hopefully the camera doesn't pick it up. Like I'm sitting here, like.
Yeah, I mean, you see, I came back. I went to the bathroom. I had to put my sweatshirt on. Doesn't taste like 9% alcohol. I would have figured it was like 5.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either until we just discovered that all together there.
But good beer. I'd drink it again.
Yeah, 3 thumbs up for the Voodoo Ranger.
I would definitely give it a thumbs up.
So Movember, we talked about that. We just want to reinforce.
Yeah, we're running out of time. It's 2 weeks left in the.
Oh my God, we didn't. You know we didn't get to the tool of the week.
Oh man, we're getting.
I got an easy one. If you want to sneak it in there real fast.
Come on,
I didn't even put? Oh no, it is on here. Rich, listen, man, we're falling apart without you over here.
How'd we not get to the tool of the week?
All right, this is just a tease for you because I know how much you love it. I know how much you love it. I know.
See, I don't own one. I would try it out, but
that's actually not the tool of the week. I just had to.
The Paolini Pocket Rule by Woodpecker.
I hate it so much. I like it.
I don't. I want a big reference surface on any sort of square. The reference surface is too small for me.
See, but I use it for quick marking out.
Yeah.
You know, and the other really handy part about that one versus like other things out there, but they have multiple versions, is the 1/8 inch thickness. So setting in drawer slides and this and that, it's like it's automatically an 1/8 inch, or they have the 16th. But my actual tool of the week was.
Oh, I've seen the commercial
Is that
for this.
The Ridge?
The Grip 6.
Grip
belt.
6.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Ridge is a wallet.
Ridge is a wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you like this?
Well, I know like you guys love your aprons, and I love the apron too.
And
but,
so say, what is it, Manny, for everybody that's not watching?
So it's a very convenient, lightweight, awesome belt. American made, USA made.
What's the name of it again?
Grip 6.
Grip 6
Yes,
belt.
not a paid sponsor. So
We'll have a link down in the description.
yeah, no, but I've suffering from a tiny waist and constant.
Must be nice.
Suffering. People just threw stuff at their computer screen. Right
Yeah. No, I have a tiny waist, and I was so tired of dealing with fucking belts and putting new holes in them and holes stretching out and you know I've never had a career where it's just like, all right, this is day in and day out for the rest of my life, and always dealing with belts that were just killing me, just irritating me, or my pants are falling, or it's too tight, or it's too loose. I was like, finally I saw the Grip 6 belts, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. At first it was like, I hate paying money for clothes because I ruin stuff all the time. So paying $35 or $40 originally when they first came out, like it was like, it's an investment to me. I don't think about it, but it's like, I don't care. Like I destroy my clothes. And so the one I'm wearing now is my everyday belt, which I've been wearing for 5 years straight. And like when they say you can pretty much like it's a lifetime belt, like I will stand behind that with them. I have literally used it as an engine hoist.
Yeah.
I've taken it off because we had a ratchet strap that was broken and we needed something else.
Nylon belt with.
Yeah. So I actually just got this one. This is their work belt. So this is their 2-inch or 1 3/4. You want to use the Paolini, we can measure it, but that's their work belt one. So
Be gentle.
yeah, don't scratch it. Please.
What are the like the features that they tout with this belt? Like I see, it's a super thin buckle, and a strong.
So you see that there's nothing to kind of clasp.
Yeah, there's no holes or little. What do they call that little thing that goes in the hole?
I don't know.
Yeah,
like a dent pin, like on
I don't know if this
on
belt
impact
even fit
wrenches
around
and
your
stuff.
body.
See,
So that's a 32. It should fit. I had to get that one because winter's coming up.
32. Man, I wear a similar kind of belt. I wear a mountain khaki.
So all right. So it's got to go in through the front first.
A mountain khaki
through
that
the
I
front.
actually got.
No.
Through the
Put the
front
belt.
of the buckle.
Right there. Put it in through the front.
From the
It's gonna
front.
look so weird if I come over there on camera. And
Get behind him.
Like this?
Yep, and then pull it. Listen, it is a little weird the first few times, but then it's the fastest.
And it stays behind you like that?
Oh, geez, like there's no coming loose.
So how do you get it undone?
It's like a real quick flip. Just pull it.
Oh, I see. It's not that hard.
It's very deterring for the women involved in your life, though.
Oh yeah, it doesn't take much.
No, it's like, how the hell do you get the belt off? It's kind of like a safety device.
It's like a payback for all those bras.
But any kind of adjustment, as long as it fits around your waist,
That's pretty cool.
you know, it's the fastest, most convenient, most comfortable belt I've ever worn.
Because this nylon thing, like I have one that I got from, I think, Duluth, I want to say.
It looks like pretty supple.
And it's really cuts into my side, like when I sit down.
This is one I've had for 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I recognize that one.
Yeah, it's got paint on it, got stain on it.
Well, we're showing off belts.
Yeah. But
This is pretty similar. So that's a mountain khaki that I got. Actually, John Peters had a giveaway on his channel like a couple years ago. I won that.
yeah, see, let's compare buckle size though. How that's like.
Does yours go in the front?
Yeah,
too?
no, this is it's definitely thicker, and no, this goes like the regular way. No, not that way. Like a regular belt, yeah, where you pull it back to the opposite direction, and then those teeth kind of bite in
Like that?
You could see. Look.
Oh, it has teeth on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like this has nothing, and I think what's deterring to some people is that it goes on the inside of the belt loop.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some times like I purposely bought that one long because that's my work belt now. Being that like
Get a little more.
yeah, and if like today, like I had to wear multiple sweatshirts, so it's like it's nice and easy to like just put it on and off, and it is
Working
comfortable.
outside?
Yeah, it felt like it. I'd rather be working outside, but like I was a real big fan of your Occidental belt,
Yeah.
but it's like me being so bony, it's like having all that meat on me. I was like, I don't know. So I dealt with like so many different like Home Depot and Lowe's belts and all those padded belts. And I'm like, I'm so tired of this. And then I got this belt and I used it as an everyday belt. And then I was like, I need something a little bit wider, and I'm tired of using this through the belt loop. So I just throw that over top of whatever I'm wearing with,
with like a little hammer
with
or
my
holster,
pouch and stuff.
yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, I have that on, and I'll have my drill and my impact just hooked onto the back of it. And I don't feel it on me whatsoever. And it's just so fast and easy to put on, and this one for an everyday belt, it's comfortable, and it sits underneath everything. There's no worrying about what hole you're in or the hole wearing out.
Yeah.
And
That's the most important thing is you want to feel like you're not wearing a tool belt.
Yeah.
That's why I like the apron because, I mean, I get hot spots on my hips after wearing I went and worked with my father-in-law, Jamie, doing some wainscoting a couple weeks ago. And by lunchtime, like my hips were killing me.
Yeah.
Because the tool belt's just digging in.
yeah.
That's why I love the overalls.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It really depends on what you like.
No belt.
Yeah. Well, I like carrying my tools on me.
Running free.
So many people like you're the same way too. Like we like carrying our tools on us.
Yeah.
Even if I'm assembling a cabinet, I'll keep my drill impact on me, keep my workbench clean, neat. You like your neatness too.
Yeah.
I have a place for all my stuff in the apron. I still leave stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
So if I didn't, I'd be double screwed.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's my tape?
I wear my apron over my overalls.
Yeah.
That's an interesting look. I would have paid to see you going down. What were you guys in Atlantic Highlands when you were walking around with your your apron
around.
If you had your Einstein hair, that would have been a fucking ticket right there.
Back when I had a whole head of bushy hair, the best story was I was standing on the street corner in 1978 in Dallas, Texas.
1978, you hear that?
Yeah.
11 years later, I was born.
Hair down to, my backside and about, 12 inches wide. And some guy pulls up to the light in his pickup truck and rolls down his window. Now, me thinking he needs directions. Mm-hmm. So I walk out into the street and I go, yes. And he goes, hey, boy, ain't you afraid of getting arrested? And I said, and I was, for what? I had no idea what he said. I said, what do you mean? For what? And this was his exact words. Just look at you.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right. He thought you were going to try to sell him some acid or something.
No, that was 1978 Texas, where if you were long hair, you had to look both ways.
See, that hasn't changed, though, because, I get that.
Yeah,
look at you.
There's still people out there with that mindset.
Yeah.
I was like, huh.
My goodness.
Which one is this one?
It's Mountain Khakis.
Oh, right.
I think they're made in Wyoming.
Yeah, which we used to sell at Eastern Mountain Sports.
Oh, nice. My other belt is a Calavera.
Yeah.
A leather Calavera belt. It's a little too thick. I mean, it's thick. It's
it's a slab.
almost a 1/4 inch thick of leather.
Yeah.
Like an everyday belt or a work belt?
Yeah, just a regular belt for your pants.
Yeah, I saw that he's making that stuff, but
The triple nickel.
it's just it's too much for me.
Yeah, you can't wear like a tool belt over top of it. It gets too bulky.
Too much.
Too much binding involved.
Yeah.
But I figured, I've heard you guys talk about your mechanical pencils and all the other necessities.
This is an awesome thing. I'm inspired to go get one.
Yeah. I've turned a lot of people onto it because, like I said, just as an everyday belt, like it just pays for itself.
You hear that, Grip 6? You're looking at potential sponsors.
Yeah.
Sponsorship opportunity here.
I'm going to buy more because I have to, not to replace this one, but as a dress belt.
Yeah.
Because they have so many different buckle options too.
Yep.
Like they have carbon fiber now. You can do different decals on them. Do this, do that. And for you,
it's a nice looking.
That stamping on the back. What is that?
Made in USA.
Made in the USA.
Look at
It's a
that.
nice looking belt. And for guys like me that have like a belly,
Yeah.
and you get a little bit of rubbage on that belt buckle. This is a nice low profile.
Yeah. And it works really well with Dickies pants.
There you
so
go.
I wear Dickies pants a lot, and if anyone's listening and wears Dickies pants, you know how tight the belt buckles are.
Yeah, I'm wearing Dickies
the belt
Right now,
Yeah,
it's god awful.
The space between the loops is so small.
Well, but it's also the belt loop itself is super tiny. So
Yeah.
it's like trying to get a belt through there is a process in itself. So it's like having something slim and sitting comfortably. I was like, just got to get that little bit of enjoyment in life.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, good choice.
Grip6.com.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly what
USA made.
it is. It's the number 6, not spelled out 6.
Put a link
Yeah.
down there in the description.
GRIP number 6.com. Thanks a lot, Manny.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that brings us towards the end
That's
of the podcast.
number 11 is in the books.
Yeah, man, it
was a
feels
fun
like so
one.
many more, and less at the same time.
Hopefully to a lot more.
So what are our closing thoughts?
Well, if you want to support the podcast, follow us on Instagram, Greene Street Joinery, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe. This, if you're listening on Spotify, we do put this up as a video on YouTube every week. So
I complained to Spotify too, because trying to watch your guys' podcast on a TV, you can't watch it. You can only listen to it. So
on like a Spotify app, you're saying?
well, like even on my TV, like I have Spotify
Right.
downloaded to it. It doesn't play on TV. It's only on PC and like tablet or mobile device.
Spotify, you're gonna have to explain yourself. What's going on here?
Yeah.
I was upset about it, and I told them about it. I was like, "You mean I can't watch a podcast on TV, but I can watch it on my phone?"
Huh.
So get
That's good to know.
get in the community, and make a comment
Yeah.
to play it on TVs.
Yeah, if you've experienced the same thing, reach out to Spotify because that's we want everybody to be able to listen when they want.
Yeah,
And then actually, we had a couple people reach out and ask about a Patreon. So I went ahead and set one up this past week. So really, if you want to support the podcast, we take time out of, production time every week to make this.
Yeah.
We have to stop working.
Shop down.
Yeah. We shut the shop down to do this. There's setup time in the beginning, afterwards, editing, publishing, getting guests and setting everything up. So, if you want to help us out and to keep the podcast going, check out the Patreon. Today's going to be the first one. After the podcast, we're going to shoot like another 10, 15 minutes, and that'll be uploaded to the Patreon for patrons only. So, little uncut, raw, griping.
So we name names.
I didn't sign up for this part.
I might get some info that we're not able to disclose here on the regular podcast.
All those people that we allude to.
Yeah.
I
Wheel
have
on.
no affiliation.
We'll be giving out government names. But we thank everybody for tuning in. We're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love getting the feedback from people. Have people from England and Australia and all over, telling us how much they love the podcast, and it means a lot. So
Just hearing people shout out from other countries. We get a kick out of it. We'll be home at night, sitting in our own separate homes in the chairs, I'll get a text from Jeff. He'll send me over something that somebody sent from Australia or England or something. Said, "Hey, man, nice job."
I'm super excited about it. I never listened to podcasts, and then I think you've messaged me or something, or like something about a podcast. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about a podcast? Like, you guys do so much stuff so quickly, I can never keep up. And you're like, yeah, we're starting a podcast, and I was like, all right, like when I'm at work, I listen to music, but I was like, all right, I'll start listening to podcasts, and it's been addictive. Like every Wednesday, I'm like, did he post it yet, or I got to wait till Thursday now?
Yeah, everybody be on the lookout around like 7, usually by 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Is when it goes up on like Spotify and stuff like that, and then Thursday morning on YouTube typically.
Oh, okay, so that's how it is.
Yeah, because we start usually about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, wrap up let's say 4:35, and then I have to get it up. Write the description, that kind of stuff.
What time is it now? Even do you guys have a clock?
I don't know. It's dark.
It's very dark.
It's dark outside.
Still have a very long night ahead of me.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, check out all those things, Patreon. Tell your friends. That's the biggest thing. If you like the podcast, tell your friends about it.
Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, if they're woodworkers.
There.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to make a fake Instagram account just to follow you guys.
Yeah, we'll be able to tag you in the...
I don't have Instagram, so...
Yeah. We appreciate it. We really do. We have a good time with it, but we really love hearing from people, reading the questions, and... just, sharing the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's a good thing, especially for someone like me and a lot of listeners that are like new to it. It's nice to just hear professionals or people who are inspired, and it just keeps you inspired. So
thank you.
Yeah, and use this as a resource. You have real questions. Don't feel like you have a stupid question, or if it's a too novice of a question, because
we all started at the bottom. At the beginning. And you're lucky if you have somebody that'll just give you an answer to a simple question.
Yep.
So bring it on.
Yeah, I mean, I've sent out our pricing template and stuff to a bunch of people. I was talking to a gentleman this morning, and he said, "Yeah, you mentioned," and I emailed it right over to him because hey,
it's no state secret.
Rising tide
Start a class.
raises all ships. So
I like that.
The better we all do, it's better for everybody. So
yeah. Thanks a lot for coming, Manny.
Thanks for having me. It's been a blast to finally do it. I miss you guys. Yeah, it's nice seeing you.
Yeah, we miss Manny quite a lot. But these are some good times that we could share.
Yeah, we'll be back for more.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Message Rich. Tell him feel better.
Right.
Send him the foot jokes.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna have to take one of these for home though.
Yeah, that was good.